this April 2nd, 2024. Could I ask you please to take a seat? So welcome, and this is the first time you're attending a City Commission meeting. Welcome, and we have a few things we go through at the beginning, starting out with our Pledge of Allegiance and going through certain agenda announcements, and then we have presentations. Tonight we have two presentations, which I will be giving one, and the Vice Mayor will be giving another. Can I ask if Yodler Lorore is here, or Jayla Lubin? Are either of you kids here? No? Okay. They were going to start us off in our pledge, so if I can please ask you all to stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please be seated. And in doing so, please join me in a moment of silence as we begin the meeting. Thank you. Mr. Clerk, could you please call the roll?
Commissioner Herbst? Here. Commissioner Glassman? Here. Vice Mayor Beasley Pittman?
Here.
Commissioner Sturman?
Here.
Mayor Trentals?
Here. We have one agenda announcement, CR2, which is the Consolidated Budget Amendment. We're going to pull that because there's, at the request of the City Manager, in order to make one adjustment to the item. There will be a walk-on at the end of the meeting regarding a motion to approve an event agreement with Baptist Health Iceplex Grand Opening Celebration. It's in District 2. And with that, do I hear a motion to approve the agenda as amended and the minutes?
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Please call the roll.
Commissioner Herbst? Yes. Commissioner Glassman?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Beasley Pittman?
Yes.
Commissioner Sturman?
Yes.
Mayor Trentals?
Yes, and those items are now approved.
Mr. Mayor, what was the item that you were?
CR2, the Consolidated Budget Amendment.
You're removing that or just pulling
It's
it?
going to be pulled. The City Manager asked to be pulled. I think it's because he wants to make one amendment to
Okay.
it.
Yeah, one item of the budget amendment will be
Yeah.
coming off.
We'll get to that when we get there. Okay. So, Vice Mayor. Vice Mayor Beasley Pittman will present a proclamation regarding Child Abuse Prevention Month in the city of Fort Lauderdale. And while she's going to the podium, if I could please ask Nancy Adjohan from the Guardian Ad Litem office to please come to the, did I pronounce that okay? Oh, okay, thank you. I learned English phonetically.
Good evening, everyone. I said this the last time. I feel backwards. Is it okay if I do this? I don't know how it comes up on the camera, but it just feels wrong to have my back to the audience. Oh, it is with great honor that tonight I'm able to read the proclamation from the city of the mayor of the city of Fort Lauderdale. It is in recognition of the National Child Abuse Prevention Month, April 24. Whereas adverse childhood experiences, including the abuse and neglect of children, can cause severe consequences for children, family, and society as a whole. And whereas every child has a right to a safe, healthy, and happy childhood in which they are educatedly and developmentally supported, and Florida's future depends on the healthy development of its children. And whereas it is vital that individuals, businesses, schools, community organizations take action to support the physical, social, and emotional and educational development and health for all children. And whereas Research shows that parents and caregivers who have supported systems and the ability to seek help in times of trouble are more resilient and better able to provide safe and nurturing environment for their children. And whereas during the month of April, Prevent Child Abuse Florida, in collaboration with the Florida Department of Children and Family and the Ounce of Prevention Fund of Florida, implements Pinwheels for Prevention. And whereas Pinwheels for Prevention is a statewide coordinated campaign aimed at increasing awareness of children's abuse prevention efforts by encouraging healthy child development, positive parenting practices, and community support. The blue and silver pinwheels displayed in this campaign symbolizes the health and happiness that all children deserve. And whereas child abuse prevention programs succeeds when partnerships are created between child welfare professionals, education, health communities, and faith-based organizations, businesses, law enforcement agencies, and families. Now, therefore, we, the City Commission of the City of Fort Lauderdale, Florida, do hereby proclaim April 2020 as National Child Abuse Prevention Month in the City of Fort Lauderdale, and urge all Floridians to engage in activities that strengthens families and communities and share in an effort to provide the ultimate environment for healthy child development. Dated the second day of April 2024 by our Mayor, Dean Trantelis.
I work with Children's Services Council of Broward County, although I heard of guardian ad litem, which is great. But I do work with Children's Services Council of Broward County, and I was not planning on being here today. And I didn't think that I would actually get emotional accepting a proclamation, because I'm not even supposed to be here. But I have read it, and I'm super excited. I'm super happy about it. Our company has been our organization, actually, Children's Services Council, has been with, for 14 years now. We have declared April as Child Abuse and Neglect Prevention Month. And so we wear blue, we have community events. This month, on April 13th, we are going to have our resource fair. We're going to have games, different family activities, just getting everyone together from 10 to 2 families together to, just provide more of a community and love for each other. Also on April 9th, we're going to wear blue to represent. So if you want to wear blue, you get to, even if it's just yourself, you can hashtag Broward Aware, and we will see it and share it. Thank you again for your commitment to awareness to child abuse and neglect prevention. As a child who grew up in an abusive home, my inner child says thank you. So.
Where is the event on the 13th? You said the 13th, correct?
Yes, it is at Reverend Samuel Delaveau Memorial Park.
Yes.
Yes.
Delaveau Park.
Delaveau Park.
Stand together for me.
Very nice. Thank you. Can I please ask Steve Hilberg from the Public Works Utility Senior Project Manager to join me at the podium? Okay. So we have this proclamation tonight in recognition of Water Conservation Month, April 2024. So as where all living things need water to survive, and clean, safe, sustainable water resources are vital to Florida's economy, environment, citizens, and visitors. And whereas the state of Florida has designated April as Water Conservation Month, recognizing it as a critical period due to increased water demands amid typically dry conditions. The initiative aims to educate and engage the community on how to protect Florida's invaluable water resources. Whereas in a collaborative effort to safeguard Florida's water resources, the City of Fort Lauderdale joins the state and water management districts to promote individual responsibility and raise awareness regarding the critical importance of water conservation and efficiency. The City of Fort Lauderdale encourages water conservation through various educational programs, including Water Matters Day, Conservation Pays Program, Naturescape, and the Wyland National Mayor's Challenge for Water Conservation. Fort Lauderdale residents use about 40 million gallons of water per day. By choosing Energy Star certified appliances and WaterSense fixtures for the home, yard, and business, residents can effectively save water. Upgrading to WaterSense labeled toilets can save the average family 13,000 gallons of water annually. That's per family, reducing costs by $140. Additionally, participants in the Conservation Pays program may be eligible for a $125 rebate. Finally, together, we can ensure a sustainable water supply for South Florida, safeguarding it for generations to come. Hey, let's make every drop count. Now, therefore, we as the City Commissioners of the City of Fort Lauderdale do hereby proclaim this month, April 2024, as Water Conservation Month in our city, and we urge our neighbors to help preserve our precious, finite, and fragile water resources by prioritizing water conservation and implementing water-saving measures year-round. Signed this April 2nd, 2024 by myself, Mayor Dean Trentels. Congratulations. You want to say a few words? Let's hear it for him.
Good evening. I work at the water plants, and I see how hard the plants work and the staff works to turn the well water into safe drinking water. It's too precious to waste. And if you are interested in conserving water, it'll save you money. The Conservation Pays website has many things that you can do, and they will give you rebates. For example, just mentioned you replace your toilet with a more efficient model, and they'll rebate you $125 per toilet, as long as the cost of the toilet is more than $125. Of course, it's more than $125. Yeah, I can't imagine it wouldn't be. I don't know. So. And there's also something that I would really push. A lot of our water, I think, in just my personal opinion, a larger fraction than necessary goes to irrigation. And after all we do to treat the water and make it drinkable and disinfected, and we add fluoride, and half of it gets thrown on the ground as irrigation, that seems to be a waste of water and a waste of resources. And so the water conservation, or the Conservation Pays website, has some tips on irrigation systems, and will offer rebates for specially approved irrigation systems. So please look into that, and let's save this resource, because it's only going to get more expensive. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, thank you, Steve, for being part of that. Now we move on to the consent agenda items. At this point, I would ask any member of the commission who wishes to pull any of the items from the consent agenda. We've already have pulled, excuse me, CR2. Commissioner Herbst, do you have any other items you'd wish to pull? None. Vice Mayor?
CR1, please.
CR1. CR2. Commissioner Glassman?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. CP1.
CP1. Okay. And Commissioner Sturman?
Yeah, I was going to do CR2, but you've already pulled it.
CR2?
Yeah, but you pulled it already.
Okay. Okay, so we have CR1, CR2, and CP1 that have been pulled. Other than those, do I hear a motion to approve the consent agenda items?
So moved.
Do I hear a
Second.
second?
Second.
It's seconded. All right, please call the roll.
Commissioner Herbst? Yes. Commissioner Glassman?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Beasley Pittman?
Yes.
Commissioner Sturman?
Yes.
Mayor Trentalis?
Yes, and so those items that are on the consent agenda that were just approved, that were not pulled, you may consider them approved by the commission, and if you wish to stay with the rest of the meeting, we welcome your staying here. Otherwise, you can leave the meeting. Okay, so on to CR1. This is a resolution authorizing a state historical marker at the Las Olas Beach Promenade entrance to honor marathon swimmer Diana Nyad. Vice Mayor.
Yes. I asked for this to be pulled because I got a couple of emails that I wanted to get a little bit more background and information regarding the overall request for the marker. So that's the reason why I pulled this. I want to give those who have an opportunity to speak.
Okay,
come
sure.
forward.
Okay, so we have a few people signed up to speak. Lynette Long, followed by Eleanor Pam, followed by former Mayor Debbie Eisinger, followed by Carla Albano. Hi. You just look at me, okay? Push the button below, push the button where it says press. Perfect, okay.
I got it.
Okay.
I'm Dr. Lynette Long. I'm chair of the Miami Beach Commission for Women and also on the Miami-Dade Commission for Women and president of Equal Visibility Everywhere. The reason I'm here today is I am the person who originally wrote the marker application, and I am also the financial sponsor of the marker so that it will cost the city of Fort Lauderdale $0.
Thank you.
So I wanted to tell you a little bit of background of the marker. In 2017, I sat down at my desk on a rainy Sunday and I counted every single marker in the state of Florida. There were 950. Only 6 were of women. So I wrote an op-ed for the Tallahassee Gazette, thinking I'd get a little attention. And immediately, the head of the Division of Historical Resources for the whole state of Florida called me up. I don't know how he got my phone number, but I guess if you're important in some ways, you can get everybody's phone number. And he said, Lynette, this is a problem. And I said, I agree. And he said, well, there is also not one single marker for LGBTQ person in the whole state. So I said, okay, I can fix this problem myself. So I made a list of women that I wanted to apply for. A half a dozen elite women that are very famous throughout the southeastern Florida, because I live in Miami. And I applied for Barbara Bayer Capitman, who saved the Art Deco district. I applied for Amelia Earhart, who took her last flight from Miami. I applied for Betty Mae Tiger Jumper, the chief of the Seminoles, only woman. I applied with the Everglades Foundation for Marjorie Stoneman Douglas. And so I applied for all these women, and in my elite group, and of course I forgot.
Diana Nyad.
Wait, before her, Julia Tuttle, the founder of Miami, who convinced Henry Flagler to bring his railroad to Miami by giving up half her land. So I decided to put in this elite group Diana Nyad. Now, all the rest of these women have their markers installed. You can go see them everywhere. But Diana Nyad doesn't. I selected her because she's world famous. Her swim was remarkable, and she's a television and sports commentator. And she had a few records that are in the marker. Only 4 of the records are in the marker content. And I want to tell you a little about the process. You have to first fill out this long application. There is a director of the marker program. That person has to approve you to go on. There's a marker council made up of an architect, an archaeologist, and a historian, all very well known in Florida. And they actually approved the final writing of the marker, not me. And they verified everything. But so did I. And there are only 4 records in the marker, 4 records that are undisputable. Her swim in Lake Ontario, which is in the Buffalo paper. Also is her swim from Bimini to Jupiter Beach, undisputable. Long distance swim at the time. Her swim around Manhattan Island, which she beat the world record by about an hour. And of course, her famous swim from Cuba to Key West. Now me, being a girl that doesn't take anything for granted, like to cause trouble, and I like to have my facts, I have a master's in math, so I like to have my facts lined up. I drove to Key West. I met with people who were on the team. I met with people who were on the boat and watched the swim. I met with the head of Art and Public Places, the mayor. I met with everybody in Fort Lauderdale. No one doubted the veracity of the swim. No one. I met with people who were standing on the shore when it happened. And I can't imagine that we are not honoring Diana Nyad, a Fort Lauderdale favorite who walked to the beach. And you know how I know? Because I had the privilege of spending a day with her and driving her around Fort Lauderdale. I stopped at her home, and I took a picture of her standing on the porch, which is in the aisles right near Las Olas as a child. I went to Las Olas Beach. We went to Pinecrest School, all things that are synonymous with Fort Lauderdale. This is an incredible woman. I trust the veracity of her swim. They've been validated by the state of Florida. They're ready to order the marker. I'm ready to write the check. All you have to do is approve it. I'm excited to see it happen today. I have full confidence in this commission.
All right, great. Thank you so much. Thank you. Eleanor Pam.
Hello.
Hello.
Very hard to follow Lynette, so.
Did she leave anything out?
Well, I don't think so. So I had to write it down because I don't want to leave anything out. My name is Dr. Eleanor Pam, and I am president of Veteran Feminists of America. Ours is an organization comprised of those original pioneers of the National Organization for Women and those who led and created the women's movement. Gloria Steinem, who just celebrated her 90th birthday, is on our board of directors. Betty Friedan and Bella Abzug were members before their deaths, along with many other consequential feminists. I worked on Title IX before it became Title IX, and I personally wrote the section about gender discrimination in physical education for the first class action lawsuit ever filed against a university in America. So I feel privileged to come before you now to speak on behalf of the feminist community in full support of the creation and approval of a marker to honor Diana Nyad for her outstanding achievements as a champion marathon swimmer and avatar of excellence, hard work, and commitment. Last year, our organization formally included Diana in our archive of pioneer feminists. There she is now enshrined among some of the most outstanding and iconic women of our generation. Those who have changed the world, given women a voice and standing, and moved us closer to gender justice and equality. Diana Nyad has demonstrated decisively and personally that speed and power, courage and boldness are not qualities that only belong to men, with all due respect to the gentleman on the podium. She has dreamed and she has dared, and despite multiple failures and obstacles, she has prevailed. Diana's grit, determination, and discipline, her drive to succeed, has made her an inspirational figure for older women. After all, she herself was 64 years of age when she successfully made the Cuba swim after 4 failed attempts, starting at age 29. But Diana Nyad is an inspiration also for younger women and girls, and for those yet unborn. In the end, she is an iconic figure for everyone, men and women, gays and straights, everyone. Because as an out lesbian herself, Diana brings respect and hope to that community and to every other disfavored group, as well as to mainstream people everywhere. As many of you know, several weeks ago, Diana Nyad was honored at the Stonewall Gala here in Fort Lauderdale. Just before she and I met up at her hotel, excuse me, should I go away?
No, go ahead.
Just before she and I met up at her hotel, prior to driving together to the gala, she took a walk along Las Olas Beach and revisited its beautiful entrance, the site of her proposed marker. Upon her return, she told me about the many wonderful memories that were triggered during that sentimental, time-tripping stroll. She talked about how much she loved Fort Lauderdale, her hometown, the place where her childhood life and heart are rooted. She currently lives in Los Angeles, she said, because that's where all her closest family and friends reside. But she cannot swim in those waters, she lamented, and hasn't for years. Too cold and not for her. She still longs instead, for the warm and hospitable ocean of her past. Right here in Fort Lauderdale, and especially at Las Olas Beach, where she practiced as a child, young adult, and adult, where her dreams were born and her destiny was cast. I'm thinking of buying a second home here, she said, seriously thinking about it. That surprised me. Wouldn't it be great if she did? Came home to Fort Lauderdale, walked up to the entrance of Las Olas Beach with her swim cap and goggles in hand, right past a marker in her honor. I hope that the mayor and city commissioners vote tonight to make that marker happen. It will honor not only Diana, but the city of her birth too, the place where she was educated and raised and did everyone proud. The example of Diana's life has inspired so many, not only to dream big, not just to aspire, but to persevere and to act, even when the path is perilous, success is uncertain, and the obstacles are overwhelming. This is the mindset of a true champion, our Amelia Earhart of the sea. Diana is a local hero, a national treasure, and an international superstar. She is so, so deserving of this marker. Thank you for listening.
Thank you. Debbie Eisinger, followed by Carla Albano.
All right. Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Commissioners. First of all, I want to thank you, Vice Mayor Beasley, for actually pulling this from the agenda so that you could hear the accolades, the accomplishments, and the verifications of what Diana has accomplished. And we'll be short. We only have one more speaker after this because I'm being optimistic. So I'm going to say on behalf of the countless Diana Nyad fans around the world, I'd like to thank you for supporting this Florida historical marker at the proposed location that honors her Herculean marathon swimming achievements. I'm glad to have had the privilege of recently meeting Diana and hearing, actually, I met her, but I'm also glad that all of you had the privilege as well of recently meeting her and hearing firsthand her story of perseverance, determination, resilience, integrity, and pride. She's also sincere, caring, compassionate, but at the same time, she's competitive, determined, and focused. Wow, what a role model. From Diana, we learn that failure is not an option, and that winners are not just defined by their successes, but also by how they handle setbacks and obstacles. Unquestionably, Diana has experienced a number of setbacks and obstacles throughout her marathon swim career. It was actually on her 5th try, 5 tries. Just imagine trying to swim 110 miles 5 times. She did not give up. And it was at the young age of 64 that she completed that swim from Cuba to the U.S. I'm 65. I'm not doing it, but I am a distance swimmer. But that's remarkable. Again, Diana is a role model to people of all ages. The positioning of this marker at the entrance to the beach by Las Olas is the ideal location. With the Wayden marker that honors the African American community, and now the addition of the Diana Nyad marker, this iconic destination will embody 2 communities that have suffered discrimination, as Diana is female and gay. So the Diana Nyad marker will be the perfect companion piece to the Wayden marker and would actually make this beach entrance a diversity, equity, inclusion site, a DEI site. Think about that. It will also create a visual symmetry as well as be a welcoming beacon to those who have not always enjoyed the benefit of equality. Just imagine schools bringing students on field trips to this location as an educational lesson in diversity, equity, and inclusion. And I kept my time. I'm done. I was good on that. I timed it. And thank you so much for your time and hopefully your support.
You're welcome.
Greatly appreciated.
Thank you. Carla?
Hi, good evening. Thank you to all of you. And my name is Carla Albano. I'm here with the rest of my fish. We are all swimmers together here in Fort Lauderdale. And thank you, as a side, thank you for the beautiful aquatic center. It's just spectacular, and we thank you every day when we go in there. I've lived in Broward County for 29 years, and I've competed in swimming for my entire life, since I was 7. I also happen to volunteer at the Mizell Johnson State Park, which you know is nestled right between Dania and Hollywood under the flight path of the airport. I call the Mizell Johnson State Park my park. In fact, I call it my happy place. And I go there often to work with the turtle program. So I was very happy just 8 years ago when it was renamed with its proper namesakes to recognize the leaders of the Wayden. And in fact, it has since then, I believe, become a very source of immense community happiness and tranquility, and it represents the raw beauty of our community. As the others mentioned, Diana Nyad's happy place was at the corner of Las Olas and A1A, where she formed dreams that millions of swimmers have dreamed since. Many years ago, in fact, 48 years ago, I was a young swimmer in California when Diana had one of her first accomplishments, which was swimming from Catalina to the mainland. I was a teenager then. And from that very moment until this very moment, I have had that vision of her and that soul of her within my own swimmer soul. In fact, I became a swimmer that thought anything was impossible, but I think Diana was a little nuts swimming the distance she swam. So she has been a role model for so many young women and swimmers throughout the world. Water surrounds us here in Fort Lauderdale. It unites us. When you think about water, it cannot be divided. And for many reasons, I feel Diana is a symbol to countless people worldwide of the fluidity of diversity that exists here in Fort Lauderdale. It makes us very special. Diana is a champion for many, but she's a hero to many more, including myself. So I urge you to approve uniting the legacy of Diana Nyad with a historical marker at the very location where she formed so many important defining ideas. And like water, let this marker unite our wonderful community. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Anyone else wish to speak on this item?
Sorry?
There being none, would someone like to introduce the resolution?
So introduced.
Before we introduce the
Oh, sure, go
resolution,
ahead.
there was, within the emails that I received, there was a indication that Parks and Recs Board did not approve this. If there's anyone here from Parks and Boards that could explain.
Carl, you here? There you are.
Good afternoon, Mayor, Commissioners. Carl Williams, Parks and Recreation Director. I don't recall any disapproval of this particular item. I need to go back and review some of our files on this, but I don't recall it.
I don't recall that either.
It was in one of the emails I received indicated that there was a rejection from the city's Parks and Recreation Board. They're not giving me a date. I was trying to see if there was any modality to that.
Okay.
I think that was about 6 years ago, if I'm not mistaken, and it was really just to gather more information, if I'm correct in that. But I think that was the only reason it was deferred at the time.
Right. It certainly wasn't in the last couple of years that I can
No, it
recall.
had to be at least 6 years ago. I'm thinking 2018.
Okay. Because the email is indicating that the International Hall of Fame was asked to put for input from Carl Williams, Director of Parks and Recs. And then it goes on to say that the Parks and Recs, after review, rejected. So we don't know anything.
So that's
about
not
that.
correct, is that?
That's not correct.
Not that I recall, and
Okay.
I will look into that.
But to
when
your
I get back to
knowledge, it's not correct. Okay.
All right.
Your word is good with me. Okay. Someone like to introduce the
I'd like
resolution?
to introduce.
Okay, it's been introduced.
Quick comment.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Well, you might not know this, but I went to high school down here at South Broward, and I was on the South Broward High School swim team.
Were you?
So I have something in common, but the only thing that differs between me and Diane is, while she's an accomplished swimmer, I sucked. But I wholeheartedly support
We have a
this.
master's team here. You're welcome to join it.
I wholeheartedly support this resolution.
All right. Very good. Mr. Clerk, please call the roll.
A resolution of the City Commission of the City of Fort Lauderdale, Florida, authorizing the
excel in
proper
other
city
things.
officials to submit an application to Florida Division of Historical Resources to place a state historic marker in the City of Fort Lauderdale at the Los Olas Beach Promenade entrance to honor marathon swimmer Diana Nyad. Commissioner Herbst? Yes. Commissioner Glassman?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Beasley Pittman?
Yes.
Commissioner Sturman?
Yes.
Mayor Trentalis?
Yes, and that item is approved. Congratulations. Are you here to write that check tonight? Yeah. Give it to the clerk before you leave tonight. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. Thank you, everybody, for your efforts. It was an honor to meet Diana a few weeks ago at that event that you mentioned, the Diversity Awards, and she's a great lady, amazing. I would not have tried. Was it her fifth try at 64 years of age? Wow. All right, thank you, ladies. Okay, on to CR2, Mr. City Manager.
So CR2, that's the budget amendment. We're pulling the item that B, and Laura and Ben are here to talk more about it.
Good afternoon, Mayor, Commissioners. Ben Rogers, Director of Transportation Mobility. So this budget amendment was to fund some repairs to the Eishoff building. Staff has been working on that for a while on making strides to make some improvements there. But with the comprehensive agreement and the long-term development plans, I think we need to pull this item and go back and look at roles and responsibilities. I've met with the developer earlier this week to talk through that. There's also some other building improvements that might be needed as well. So I think we need to do a more comprehensive review of the Eishoff building, its needs, and the longevity of how long it will still be there.
Okay.
Mr. Mayor, I actually brought this up at my pre-agenda meeting with staff yesterday because my concern was that, as we all know, we have approved a comprehensive agreement for the east and west buildings on that peninsula. The west building has been demolished. This is the east building that we're talking about. So I just thought that before we go ahead and commit $134,000 and change to mold remediation, let's get a real handle on how long that building is going to still be with us. Let's find out if there's maybe we can do something to mitigate the issue at a lesser cost. So I'm glad to hear that this item is being deferred until we can just do a little bit more due diligence.
Why would you throw money into that building? I agree.
That was my question.
Just spray some Febreze or something.
I'm happy to hear that we're going to do a little bit more due diligence on this. Thank
Okay,
you.
so except for item B, which will be pulled, would someone like to introduce?
Well, I'd asked to be pulled also, but actually, no, it's okay.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, it was the exact same thing. $134,000 for mold for a building that's going to come down. I had the exact same issue that Glassman had. So.
Okay. Introduced as amended. Any further comments or questions? There being none, please call the roll.
A resolution of the City Commission of the City of Fort Lauderdale, Florida, amending the City of Fort Lauderdale's fiscal year 2024 final all funds budget for the fiscal year beginning October 1, 2023 and ending September 30th, 2024 as amended by appropriating, de-appropriating, and transferring funds as set forth in City Commission Agenda Memo 24-0037, amending the City of Fort Lauderdale final fiscal year 2024 through fiscal year 2028 Community Investment Plan for the fiscal years beginning October 1, 2023 and ending September 30th, 2028 as amended by appropriating and transferring funds as set forth in the City Commission Agenda Memo 24-0037 and providing for severability and an effective date. Commissioner Herbst? Yes. Commissioner Glassman?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Beasley Pittman?
Yes.
Commissioner Sturman?
Yes.
Mayor Trentalis?
Yes, and that item is now approved. Moving on to CP1, Commissioner Glassman.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. CP1 is motion approving an agreement for Oceanside Park and Green Space Maintenance, J-Mat Cleaning Services Incorporated, in the amount of $188,740. So I've had this discussion with several people. I've also had this discussion last night at my pre-agenda meeting. So I really need to ask staff to talk to me about this. So
it's a cleaning contract.
Oh, I understand that. Thank you. No, that's not what my questions were about. But yes, I was able to read that. Thank you, Mayor. The questions, first of all, I'm always a little suspect when I take a look at bids and I see such an amazing disparity in the amounts that are bid. So, for instance, and I don't always agree that going with the lowest bidder is always the best way. In this case, we are prepared now to award this contract to the lowest bidder that came in at a cost of $94,370 for the year. Now, that includes all staff, that includes all personnel, and that includes also being responsible for all supplies, all cleaning supplies, anything to do with keeping the Las Olas Oceanside Park clean and 3 adjacent properties to the park. So that came in at $94,000. The other 3 bids for exactly the same scope of services, and there were 33 line items for the scope of services. So we're getting ready to award to someone that's bid $94,000. The other bids were $268,000 and change, $395,000 and change, and $470,000 and change. So that all automatically sets off a red flag for me. Because it doesn't make any sense.
Is Judy Shepard here?
So I get nervous when I see such a disparity in contract offers for something like this. But then I also did receive an email from people that are very involved in Las Olas Oceanside Park at A1A and Las Olas, And I'm reading things like, over the past 3.5 years, I've diligently documented to staff grievances regarding JMAC services. Despite our best efforts, management and staff have been notified concerning the on-the-ground workers. It is consistently evident that JMAC is ill-equipped to fulfill its duties professionally and effectively. And then reasons are enumerated. Consistent hiring of untrained, often transient individuals to perform essential maintenance tasks. Incomplete, not thorough, poor work. These raises the questions of safety and liability. My staff, meaning the events people at that park, are having to clean. We all know that we are having an issue on that park with homelessness population, and therefore this place requires a lot of cleaning. Pressure washing, 12 services per year. Monthly, folks, that's just not, trust me, I go by that park every single day. That is not going to cut it for this area. You cannot just pressure wash this park once a month. And I'm even concerned with the amount of high pressure that's being done in terms of removing the dirt and the grime for the surfaces. I'm being told that our own events people are scrubbing the site, especially under the awning by the restrooms where homeless population tend to congregate. I'm also being told that the scope of services is just not going to make it, that there's a lack of proper supervision, lack of monitoring, keys being left with non-uniform staff, personal items are being left in the restrooms and storage closets. There's just not the proper oversight on this. Also, insufficient supplies, insufficient equipment for thorough cleaning and maintenance. I could go on, but I'm also being told that there's improper disposal of trash and debris, et cetera, et cetera. That's pretty much it. Everything else is pretty much a repetition of what I've just said. So again, I'm concerned about the bid. I'm concerned about the total. I'm concerned about how far off it is from 3 other very responsible maintenance companies. Again, red flag. And the fact that this is also in front of us as a 2-year contract, that also makes me a little bit apprehensive. So I'm bringing all these issues up, Mayor, because I just need to hear why. Okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
So let me ask this. First of all, do we have any experience with the other vendors and what kind of performance they had? And was their performance acceptable or unacceptable at a higher price? In other words, how do we know the same kind of performance would not still be undertaken at a higher price? But Judy Shepard's here from JMAC Cleaning. So you want to address your questions to her?
Yes, and thank you. If you could address all of that, because that's...
Well, why don't you narrow it down to a couple of different... You asked a bunch of different questions and added a number of different issues, and I think maybe it'd be fair to her if you have some specific questions.
Okay, well... First of all, let's just talk about pricing. So you're responsible for all of the staffing, personnel, and also supplies, right? Any idea, I mean, again, this might be a tough question to lead with, but why the incredible disparity between your bid and all of the others when you were all bidding on the same 33 line items?
Right now, we're cleaning 2 of the parks.
Judy, could you speak up into the microphone?
Right now, we're cleaning 2 of the parks. We're cleaning the west side where the boats usually be at, and we're cleaning the circle. And if you look at the contract that we have now is 87.5. They're adding 2 additional parks, which is across from the west side, and it's just the green grass. And on the opposite side across the street is the open green space also. Our contract is 87 right now. We went up, $7,000-8,000. We're mowing, we're edging, we're hedging, we're trimming. The other companies that you're speaking of, those are contract companies that has major contracts and that has the license for palm trees and all of that nature. It doesn't take $200 and some thousand to clean these 4 parks. Okay, to mow them, you're going to charge me $200 and some thousand to mow 3 parks when it only could cost me $10,000 to mow 3 parks, in which we're mowing 1 park and we're cleaning the green grass, the turf, we're pressure washing. As far as the pressure washing goes, the city of Fort Lauderdale deemed it once a month to be cleaned. They also deemed that they will handle the outside surface. It was not our decision to handle the outside surface or not to. They deemed that we only clean the park, pressure wash the park once a month. So that's what we give them the first Tuesday in the month. We pressure wash the park once a month. As far as the transit that comes in and out of the park, there's a lot of houseless people that lives out there. Yes, we employed some of them. It keeps the feces down. It keeps the park clean. It keeps me safe at night. Some nights I don't go out there and clean it. I go out there, lock it up, and I close it because I don't feel safe out there myself. So if I don't feel safe, I go out, I lock it up on a Friday night. I come back at 5:30 the next day, and I start to clean the park. As far as me employing them, I'm not the only vendor out there that employed the houseless. The other vendor also employed the houseless. As far as giving them the keys, when I leave the park at 11 and I come back, they have the key because they have to put the equipment away. I receive the keys.
So I'm sorry to interrupt, but because that was another part of this email that I received. You're telling me that you actually give homeless folks that are congregating in that area keys to lock up the restrooms?
They're on pay staff, so they have their own shirt. They have an application. They've been ran through the e-verification, so they are verified.
Okay.
It's not like that they're homeless and they can't do it. We give it to them because we have already done our e-verification form on them, and we know what they're capable of with their Florida ID and their SS card.
Do you find that your employees are very transient? Because I'm being told that it's almost every week there are new people that you pick up from the area, you give them a shirt and a blower, and you put them to work.
That is incorrect.
Okay.
That is definitely incorrect.
Okay. Let me ask you this, because I know that you do, besides the Las Olas Oceanside Park, you do 2900 East Las Olas Boulevard, 2925 East Las Olas Boulevard, and 300, which are primarily those just grassy areas in and around the park, right?
Those are the 2 that they just put on the contract for this year.
Okay, and that would just be probably for like mowing and trimming and
edging, hedging,
things
and
like
trimming.
that.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, so very quickly, do you train all of the folks that you hire on a regular basis? Because it seems that there is a large turnover of folks that are working for you. Are they all trained?
I personally train everybody. If they don't meet my standards, they go through a training process. If I feel that they're not working out, I'll let them go. I don't keep anyone that is not trained properly.
Okay. Random checks of the interior storage closet show non-staff personal belongings being stored.
If a transit works for me and he has a suitcase, I let him put his suitcase in the closet because if he leave it out, it's going to get ransacked, stolen, or whatever the case may be. As everyone know, everything at the park is stolen. You turn around, everything is gone. So I let that person that works for me put their equipment, put their luggage in the closet, yes.
Okay. Who is supervising the work when it happens?
I supervise that park.
So you supervise that park.
Yes.
Do all of the employees, are they properly uniformed with name tags and basically look like they're working for
Yes, they do.
the company?
They have their shoes, their shirt, and their pants.
Okay. Do you feel that you have been supplying and there are sufficient supplies and equipment for the maintenance and the cleaning on the site?
Yes, there is. When we run low, as far as the equipment, the supplies, I supply the park for the public that comes in and out. I supply them as needed when requested. I keep the bathroom stocked with 2 toilet paper rolls a day in each stall. And what goes on the weekends, I have no control over because I'm told not to come out at the park. Come out at the park on the weekends, open the park, and leave. I'm not supposed to be at the park on the weekends, even though my contract says I should be there. I was told don't come to the park on the weekends because they don't want me out there. So I don't go on Saturdays and Sundays. I go to open up at 6 in the morning and open the bathroom at 8. I go and close at 6:30 when they leave, because I'm not supposed to be there. Even though contract states I'm supposed to be there at 9:30, 12, 2, 4, and 6.
Okay, thank you. The open area, we all know that that's artificial turf, and there is what's generally referred to as a vacuum that cleans that artificial turf, that large open area. I'm being told that that vacuum, which is typically stored in the electric pump room, has been broken for several years, and we don't see that maintenance of that artificial turf.
No, you don't, because Park and Rec says it's not worth being fixed. It costs $6,000 to repair, and the motor on it is plastic, and it will break automatically. So they themselves say they will not repair it. They will be removing it from the electrical room. So at that point, we blow the field. I have 2 employees every 2 days that blows the entire field.
But blowing the field, how does that alleviate the items that are actually stuck into the turf? And I'm talking about, and I've seen this, pieces of glass, dog feces. How does it get cleaned rather than, you can blow it with a leaf blower, but how does it actually get cleaned and maintained?
We don't blow the dog feces. We do not blow glass. We sweep up the glass. The dog feces is rinsed off with a water hose or either swept into a bag. We do not blow those 2 items.
Okay. Do you feel that the park is consistently stocked with essential supplies such as soap and toilet paper rolls, and there's been no issue there with that?
That's no issue. If it runs out, I'll be there at nighttime to put it in. It's not said that I had to be there to put the soap in every minute that it runs out. I put it in at night. I'll go in at 11 o'clock in the morning. Before I leave, I check, and I resupply it that's needed.
With regards to the landscaping in the park, is your company responsible for maintaining the landscaping in the park?
Yes, we are.
Okay. The reason I ask that question is I frequent this park a lot. It's a very important part of my district. It's A1A in Las Olas. It's important for the residents. It's important for the tourists. It's really a crucial spot. I recently had, well, not so recently, but I had to report to the Parks and Rec director and our city manager how everything was dead. I don't remember what we've just spent on there to replace all of the landscaping, but I would say we spent over $50,000 to replace the landscaping in that park very recently. So I'm just trying to figure out why that disconnect.
That was that big windstorm we had when all that sand from the beach came up onto the park, and the salt water killed all of those plants. And they came in 2-3 months later and removed them all. It wasn't due to anything but nature. Nature killed all of those plants.
With all due respect, because I do attend a lot of events there besides, a walkthrough every once in a while, sparse, even before the storm. The storm definitely, I agree with you, the storm definitely put it right over the edge. But leading up to the storm, I would just say for such an important corner, it was really deteriorating. So, Mayor, those are basically, there are many others, but I really appreciate your answers. Thank you for that.
So
and I
I'm
appreciate
concerned.
the time.
Okay, 1 second. I'm concerned that a maintenance company is being asked to tend to the landscaping. I mean, that's a special talent, and I don't see why. That makes no sense to me.
Well, I think it might be in the scope.
Well,
it's in the scope. I'm reading from the scope. I'm reading from, there are 33 line items. What do you want me to tell you? It's in the scope of services from the contractor.
Okay.
I'm not making it up.
I know you're not making it up. I'm just wondering what the intelligence of combining those services.
Parks and Rec doesn't maintain landscaping throughout the entire city. There are things that Parks and Rec does, and then there are things that Parks and Rec does not do.
I understand.
But these
that.
line items even include fertilization, mulching, edging, trimming.
Yeah.
I mean, I could go on, weed control. I mean, those are all part of landscaping, and these are line items that are in the 33 line items of the scope of services.
Okay.
That's all.
Thank you. Vice Mayor.
Thank you for the time.
My question is just visualizing what Commissioner Glassman said. He said the plants, they were dying. Is there irrigation there in place for these the plants that are there?
The plants that he may be speaking of, when it's watered too much, the bottom of it turns brown. It's green, but the water gets so much into those plants, it turns brown. And we have to pull from around the plant and discard that. It's because it's being sucked up, all the water is going into those plants. It's not that it's dying, it's the water that is killing those plants. And I brought that to the attention of the Parks Department.
So so to answer the question, there is
It
irrigation,
is irrigation out there.
and it's being watered
It
too
is
much.
being watered daily, every morning at 5 o'clock.
All right, thank you.
Anyone else have any questions? Okay, there being none, does someone want to introduce this resolution? It's been introduced.
It's a motion.
Oh, it's a motion? I'm sorry. Let me get
Second.
Motion approved has been moved and seconded. Please call the roll.
Commissioner Herbst? Yes. Commissioner Glassman?
No.
Vice Mayor Beasley Pittman?
Yes.
Commissioner Sturman?
Yes.
Mayor Trentalis?
Yes, and that motion is now approved. And good luck with it, Judy. And where are you? There you go. Okay. Thank you for your efforts, and I appreciate your making it look great. Okay, moving on to motions. M1, motion approving an event agreement and request for music exemption for Fiesta Fabuloso Cinco de Mayo celebration.
Muy bien.
Do I hear a motion?
What date is that going to be this year?
Ha 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 ha. What he's missing in his swimming talents, he makes up with his humor. Sort of. Yeah. Someone like to move the item?
So moved.
Been moved. Do I hear a second? Moved and seconded. Please call the roll.
Commissioner Herbst? Yes. Commissioner Glassman?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Beasley Pittman?
Yes.
Commissioner Sturman?
Yes.
Mayor Trentalis?
Yes, and M1's approved. M2, motion approving an agreement for the Dorsey Riverbend Stormwater Improvement Project, ManCon Incorporated. $33,841,618.20. Pretty specific.
Yes.
Do I hear a motion to approve?
So moved.
Do I hear
Second.
moved and seconded? Please call the roll.
Commissioner Herbst? Yes. Commissioner Glassman?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Beasley Pittman?
Yes.
Commissioner Sturman?
Yes.
Mayor Trentalis?
Yes, and M2 is approved. M3, motion designating the 10 most populous city seat to the Florida League of Cities Board of Directors. In the past, it has been me. I'd like to continue in that role if possible.
Do you really?
Huh?
You really want to continue?
Yes.
Because if you don't, I want to.
Okay.
Ooh, look at
Well,
that.
this is the Board of Directors, and I've been doing that for.
Okay. All right, just putting it out there. If you,
Okay.
if you have any hesitation there, you know.
Let's have a campaign.
One more year. One more year.
problem.
Okay.
Just putting it out there.
Okay.
'Cause sometimes we do things because we think. Yeah, that part.
I'll let you have the next one.
Okay, sounds good. Ready for it.
Do I hear a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Please call the roll.
Commissioner Herbst? Yes. Commissioner Glassman?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Beasley Pittman?
Yes.
Commissioner Sturman?
Yes.
Mayor Trentalis?
Yes, and that item is now approved. M4, motion approving the City of Fort Lauderdale voting delegate and alternate for the National League of Cities 2024 City Summit and Annual Business Meeting this November 13th through the 16th, 2024. This past year, we had the Vice Mayor, and I believe...
No, it was actually Commissioner Herbst.
Oh,
Yeah.
Commissioner Herbst. I'm sorry,
Yeah.
I'm reading that. I was
Vice
reading
Mayor
something
was the alternate.
So what do we want to do this time?
I'll take it.
Commissioner Herbst, you want to be the
There you go.
alternate?
Where's it going to be?
Second.
Where? Do we know the
Second.
location?
Okay.
Tampa Bay.
I don't know where the location
Tampa
is.
Bay.
Oh, it's in Tampa. Oh, you're
Yeah,
right.
it's
There it is,
Tampa, yes.
Okay, not too
In
far.
November, Tampa.
Okay, so motion to approve Vice Mayor Beasley Pittman as the designated delegate and the alternate Commissioner John Herbst. The item has been moved. Has it been seconded? Yes. Okay, moved and seconded. Please call the roll.
Commissioner Herbst? Yes. Commissioner Glassman?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Beasley Pittman?
Yes.
Commissioner Sturman?
Yes.
Mayor Trentalis?
Yes, and that item's now been approved. Moving on to R1, appointment of board and committee members. Mr. Clerk, you want to read the names into the record?
Yes, for the April 16th resolution, Central City Redevelopment Advisory Board, Antoinette Wright, nominated by Commissioner Glassman. And for tonight's resolution, Aviation Advisory Board, John Vratsanas, nominated by Mayor Trentalis. Board of Adjustment, Frederick Stressel, nominated by Commissioner Sturman. Budget Advisory Board, Mildred Lowe, nominated by Vice Mayor Beasley Pittman. Jeremiah Carter, nominated by Vice Mayor Beasley Pittman. Central City Redevelopment Advisory Board, Bobby Tinoco, nominated by Commissioner Glassman. Economic Development Advisory Board, Latasha Gorman, nominated by Vice Mayor Beasley Pittman. Education Advisory Board, Heather Brinkworth, nominated by Commissioner Hertz. Homeless Advisory Committee, Tony Bidet, nominated by Vice Mayor Beasley Pittman. Housing Authority of the City of Fort Lauderdale Board of Commissioners, Nicole Blake, nominated by Mayor Trentalis. Marine Advisory Board, Jason Dunbar, nominated by Mayor Trentalis, and that rounds it out.
Okay. Go ahead.
Before we move on, I don't know if this is the proper place, but with the number of board members for the Housing Authority,
Housing Authority, yeah.
How many people are allowed for that, and how many do we have?
I don't know the answer to that. Who's the staff advisor on that? Greg?
Let me ask, I'm going to ask the clerk to assist me with that.
So the Housing Authority?
Yes.
Oh, that is Rachel. No, I'm sorry. It's not Rachel Williams. Chris, would you know? Housing Authority?
I'm trying to pull it up. Just give me a second.
It's the Fort Lauderdale Housing Authority is Tam English. That's a separate agency. Yeah, executive director. Yeah.
Right, it's a different agency. I just couldn't remember who. Tam, thank you.
Yeah.
All right. My question, if I'm not out of order, you all can redirect me if I am.
You're out of order. No.
Well, we're going to keep going. But my question is,
yes, go ahead.
I was trying to find out how many people are on the board. Their meetings, are they consistently having their meetings? Are they having quorums? Do we need to add additional members in order for them to operate properly?
I don't think there are 5 people on the board, and we have a full complement of people sitting on the board now. And I have not heard back anything from Tam English telling me that they've had any problems getting quorums or being able to meet, without a quorum. So I've not got any feedback on that in that regard.
All right. Is there any way we can get that feedback? Because I'm hearing different.
You are hearing differently.
Yeah,
So, all right, the next meeting, we can certainly bring that up.
Okay. All right. So
Sure.
for further discussion regarding that.
Okay. Sure. Michael Rayner asked to speak.
Yes.
Can you move what?
Jerry, help him.
Oh, that? I guess. Yeah. You want to put it on the floor? No. Okay.
Thank you. Michael Rayner, thank you, Vice Mayor, for raising those concerns that I brought up at last night's pre-agenda meeting for District 3. So Florida statute 421-05 actually defines the appointment process for housing authorities under cities. And actually, by law, a housing authority shall have no fewer than 5 and no more than 7 members appointed. Unless, of course, prior to 1981, they had more than 7, then they can keep 7. Pompano Beach Housing Authority actually has a full complement of 7 members. Of the 5 members, if you're going with a 5-member board, at least 1 member must be a tenant resident commissioner who either is very low income and receives a voucher or lives in one of the projects. And actually, for the last year and a half, the Housing Authority of Fort Lauderdale has failed to be in compliance with having a resident tenant commissioner. They've been completely out of compliance. I brought this to their attention at the last Housing Authority meeting, very concerned by it. And going to one of those meetings isn't easy. I couldn't imagine if at 6 o'clock you only just unlock the door to let people in, but you have meetings that never are on time anyways, so you're always running and people are here. But they don't unlock their doors for their board meetings until the meeting starts, and then the public is allowed in. It's a very cold process to engage in. So for a year and a half, they have failed to actually have the voice of residents or end users that are part of this process, which is really critical. I actually live in a housing authority property which is a low-income tax credit property where I pay 100% of my rent. I don't get a voucher. But there's staggering issues and quality of life issues and safety issues. I've been verbally assaulted, physically assaulted. The police have been there repeatedly, and I appreciate that. They come when they come to deal with situations. We had a murder on the property by a gun when guys were playing dice back in September. Thankfully, when I called the police, they're finally towing cars that are stolen and abandoned there. We have parking issues. But the problem that's been missing with the Housing Authority is it was a board of just men. Now, Nicole Blake, who I do not know, has her master's degree, is an employee of the Broward County Housing Authority, so she has knowledge. But what I don't know is she actually a resident commissioner? Would she qualify and be eligible? If she's not, the city and the Housing Authority will be in violation for appointing a fifth person if she does not meet that eligibility criteria. And Mayor, I know I texted you on March 12th and copied you in several emails asking to meet to discuss this, and unfortunately, I didn't hear back from you, so I'm here today to have that conversation. I wish we actually could have had that conversation. But tonight I'm asking the Commission, may I finish?
Please complete your thoughts. Go ahead.
I'm asking the Commission tonight to consider the following. One, confirm the nominating individual actually meets the eligibility criteria to serve in the resident/tenant commissioner category, and either approve the appointment with the understanding that the mayor will work with the Housing Authority City of Fort Lauderdale to educate its residents and beneficiaries of the opportunity to appoint 2 additional resident tenant commissioners in an effort to increase the diversity of the board's membership, or table this item tonight until more could be learned about how this appointment was advertised, solicited, and how an employee from Broward County Housing Authority was recruited for this appointment. In here, I get the newsletters, and I could share these with you, but there's other things that even, city manager signed off on a certification of compliance that went to HUD that talked about how the Housing Authority has a residential advisory board. They don't have one. And that's what the Housing Authority may have told him in this document. But so there's no input for people to actually say things and to actually give a voice to improve the quality of life. I'm the only white and only gay white resident of 116 people that lives in the Gov, and so it's been a really staggering. Somebody with a social work background, I'm helping many of my neighbors navigate different social service programs to get the help for them, their kids, whether it's through the educational system or other services, but I don't think this item is ready for tonight. And I say that also because just yesterday, the Housing Authority's board meetings are on the second Wednesday of each month. Just yesterday, they canceled their April meeting. So their next meeting will be on May 8th. You have 2 commission meetings prior to that time. And here's the, let me give you this, Mayor, so you could look it over.
You have to give it to the clerk. You have to give it to the clerk.
Be careful.
So what I just handed the clerk is actually, and you all can have a copy, is the Florida statute, and I highlighted the relevant areas that actually spell out what needs to be there. This commission has the ability, during a housing crisis, an affordable housing crisis, and at a time when there's a land grab up at, a land grab with Broward School properties that are going to be closed, to look at it. Why not have people who actually reflect the community that are most in need of affordable housing and low income to weigh in and have those decisions? Nicole Blake, who I don't know, and I'm not speaking against her, thankfully she's a minority woman. She'll be the only woman on that board. It's a boys' club, unfortunately. But I really do believe that this is a time, Mayor, where you actually can redefine how we look at affordable housing in different systems. There was a discussion years ago where I asked Ben Sorensen to bring forward an item to figure out even what more you could do for the trans community. You could have nominated a transgender individual to make sure that maybe those concerns on transgender housing were built in. But those opportunities years ago were diminished when you actually said there's this activist who says we're not doing enough during a priorities meeting. And you know what? I'm trying to look where we could find solutions with the systems we have. It's a self-governing organization, the Housing Authority. The only power you have is the appointment authority. And by doing that, you could change the culture of an organization that will actually change that organization's culture and look at the community and increase diversity. I mean, I'd be happy to serve because I believe I qualify even. But I'm happy that people are being nominated finally, and it's being prompted because I called out the Housing Authority and I brought it to your attention. But I don't know how that particular applicant came about. But state law allows you to appoint up to 7 members, and I recommend that the mayor nominate a total of 3 resident commissioners. And I say that from my experience having served on the county's HIV Health Services Planning Council as an unaffiliated person living with HIV/AIDS, where Ryan White planning councils have to have 1/3 of that membership. And the reason I say you need to have 3 is it's complex. Housing authorities are complex. Vouchers and all the different programs they have are complex. You need to make sure that people are up to speed so that they can participate at their fullest potential and be properly mentored. If you lose one person, like we just did a year and a half ago, and I had to dig through minutes and do public records requests and ask for those minutes to be posted, but it's interesting. 2021 and 2022 minutes now for the Housing Authority are missing this week. They were there the other week. They're gone now. So I don't know what's going on there, but I think something needs to be looked at because I don't think it's doing right by the city or the people who are most in need of these programs, and I think we need to begin changing that culture. So I recommend you review this and consider tabling this item to the next meeting so that more research can be done on this. There's no rush. TAM canceled the meeting for this month, so it's not like you're missing anything, even though this is Fair Housing Month.
All right. We hear it. You've had your 3 minutes.
Okay.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. And I'm happy to answer any questions if anybody has any.
Thank you. So there has been a vacancy. According to the records, the person who filled that tenant commissioner position, she passed away. Another person was appointed, and that person later quit. And I now have an opportunity to recommend somebody who I think would be a more than qualified person. Talk about how complex the issue of affordable housing is. This person, that's her job with the county. She's an administrator with the county. She more than qualifies for something like this. If we decide to add people to the board, going from 5 to 7, we can discuss that at a later time. But tonight we really need to fill this position, and I would ask and it's a mayor's appointment. So I would ask the commission to support that appointment as we go forward and try to fulfill the responsibilities we have to make sure that these appointments are made. Thank you.
So we will discuss the opportunity to appoint additional.
I think we should.
Okay.
If we feel there's a necessity to do that, absolutely.
All right.
Mayor, just a question. So not questioning your appointment at all, but I would like to know a little bit more about the question about whether we are in compliance with state law or not. Because if we need to have a tenant representative, is your appointee a tenant representative?
I understand she qualifies.
Okay.
Because she's a recipient of state vouchers. So that's my understanding, John.
Okay. Again, I don't mind supporting you on this, but could we confirm that? Because
I would ask the city attorney to confirm that.
Okay, Mr. Attorney, yeah, because that would be my only concern.
I agree.
Yeah,
I want to make sure she qualifies, but we did do some research.
It's important that whatever we do, we're consistent and compliant with state law.
And we did do the research on it, and that was our finding. So. Okay. So that's why I went ahead and made the nomination.
Right. But I also agree with the Vice Mayor, too. I think perhaps looking at this and expanding the number of people on it and including more certainly doesn't hurt. I'm open to
and maybe you should all have a conversation with Tam English.
I talk to Tam regularly. In fact, I'll be talking to Tam this week.
Okay, good.
On a different issue, but I'll bring that up.
Yeah, bring it up and see what his feelings are.
Right.
Okay?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Thank you.
Okay. Someone like to introduce the resolution?
Introduced.
It's been introduced. Please call the roll.
A resolution of the City Commission of the City of Fort Lauderdale, Florida, appointing or nominating, if applicable, board and committee members as set forth in the exhibit attached hereto and made a part hereof. Commissioner Herbst?
Yes.
Commissioner Glassman?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Beasley Pittman?
I'm going to say no because I want to hear the results from the city commissioner.
The city attorney?
Yes. So that's why I'm voting no at this moment.
Commissioner Sturman?
Yes.
Mayor Trentalis?
Yes, and that resolution is approved. R2, resolution appointing director, alternate, and second alternate to Broward League of Cities Board of Directors. Right now, we have, I believe it's the vice mayor. Hold on a second.
Yes, Vice Mayor is the director, and you are the mayor. You're the alternate.
Right.
And no second alternate currently.
Right. There's no second alternate.
Correct.
So, Vice Mayor, do you still want to be the director?
Yes.
Okay. And and I'm happy to be the alternate. Does anyone else want to be an alternate? Don't raise your hands all at once. Okay. Something that we talked about today with regard to the homeless statute should be at the next meeting.
Yes.
We really need to bring that up.
Yes.
Okay.
Definitely.
Yeah. Okay. Someone like to introduce the resolution?
Introduced.
Please call the roll.
A resolution of the City Commission of the City of Fort Lauderdale, Florida, appointing Vice Mayor Pamela Beasley Pittman as director to serve on the 2024-2025 Board of Directors of the Broward League of Cities, and Mayor Dean J. Trentalis as alternate for the 2024-2025 Board of Directors of the Broward League of Cities. Commissioner Herbst?
Yes.
Commissioner Glassman?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Beasley Pittman?
Yes.
Commissioner Sturman?
Yes.
Mayor Trentalis?
Yes, and R2 is now approved. R3, this is a quasi-judicial resolution approving the Bal Harbor Village plat, 2201 Northeast 19th Street. This was deferred from the last meeting. Anyone wishing to speak must be sworn in, and the commission will announce any site visits, communications, or expert opinions received and make them a part of the record. Commissioner Herbst, do you have any additional disclosures?
No additional disclosures.
Vice Mayor?
No.
I don't think I have any either. Nothing other than with staff. Commissioner Glassman?
None.
And Commissioner Sturman?
None.
Okay. All right, so a number of people have signed up to speak, so we might as well start with that since this is a quasi-judicial proceeding. About a dozen people have signed up to speak, and I'll call your names 3 at a time so you kind of know, you can anticipate being called up.
Now, this is that item that we had last time deferred to today.
What's that?
This is the item that we had last time
This is
deferred.
exactly.
Right.
This is with regard.
Bal Harbor.
I mean, Commissioner Herbst, you want to?
Yeah, but let me just preface this conversation before we
Yeah,
have
why don't we
public
do that?
input. So, two things. One, as we discussed at length last time, the plat approval is ministerial in nature. As long as it complies with the law, we are obligated to approve it, irrespective of anything else that may happen. So I just want everybody to understand that the City Commission's hands are tied with respect to the plat approval itself. But more importantly, which the issue of the acquisition of that parcel as potential green space, I have a meeting tomorrow with Cabot Edward, the developer, and I'm hopeful that we'll be able to come to an agreement that I can then bring back to the City Commission for approval on that. I think we have a basis for something that will be acceptable to all parties. So I just wanted to let everybody know that. Again, we've got a meeting set up for tomorrow. I think it's something that we can work with. I hope we have a resolution that I can bring forward at the next meeting.
Well, in light of that, should this be something we decide after your meeting?
Again, like I said, Mayor, I believe this is ministerial in nature, and I think deferring this may be problematic, and I'll defer to the attorney's office on that.
Tom, is lightning going to strike us? And
Geez, I certainly hope not. I would advise that you proceed with the plat approval.
That doesn't answer the question.
I'm sorry, what was it? What was it?
You sound like such a lawyer avoiding the question.
I would not recommend deferring.
Okay. All right. So Commissioner Herbst has brought this into context. Now we can proceed with public comment. Ann Steinhardt, followed by Douglas Fulcher, followed by, looks like Doug Hoffman. Is Ann here? Oh, there you are. Hi.
I just want to say, we moved into the neighborhood because it was a neighborhood, because everybody's friendly there. We knew who we ran into. Our children were safe to play there. There was a space there with the church. They gave us all the space we needed to have picnics, parties, whatever. We would like just to have a green space. That's what it's all about for us. And I think that Mr. Edouard even would benefit from having that green space. If he's putting 7 homes there and they have no place to even meet their neighbors, I think it's a bad thing. That's as much as I will say.
Okay, thank you. Douglas?
Mayor and Commissioner, there was a graphic right here a minute ago. Now it's gone. It was like the satellite view of the area.
Can we pull that up, please?
IT, can you put up the exhibit for the cam for this, please?
Just give us a second. I'll stop the clock. Just wait a second.
Okay.
There we go.
Okay, can it scroll?
Scroll up, please.
Scroll up.
A little bit more.
Scroll
so
up,
we can get the entire.
Pan up.
Can we get the whole thing in?
Just a touch. Either scroll up or shrink it.
Pan up. Please.
Well, neither one worked.
There you go.
Keep going.
A
keep
little
going.
more.
Oh, that's it.
There it is.
Oh, okay. It actually is cutting off the part I wanted to describe. But the part that's marked commercial, and when I went to the agenda tonight, the attachment there did shows my house in relation to where I am. I mean, that's the commercial property. But in looking at the commercial property, I can't help but feel like, and I hope that you're all able to come to an agreement with the developer, but should you not, and it goes commercial, I don't know really what his plans are for it. He hasn't stated it. I'm afraid he could sell it to the relaxed back property, and then in turn they could decide to redevelop a bigger chunk of property, and next thing, I've got a building that I didn't even plan on sitting in my front yard. So I am concerned very much about what happens down the road. Right now I've got a desirable house. I don't want someone now to look at it and go, well, you've got this.
Are you the house on the southeast corner of 19th Street?
At the bottom of the picture, you see the kind of roundish part, which is the sanctuary. I'm like, and there's a. Can I point right here?
Go ahead. Your house is right there. That's on the corner, right? Yeah. It's on the exhibit on our agenda. Just so that you know, that's your house.
You're able to see it. Actually, that's last time we had a discussion on where the guardhouse is, and here's a photo.
That's the Publix, isn't it?
Well, actually, it's taken at the guardhouse. That's the exit gate arm that you see right where.
Okay, well,
right.
we understand.
Right. But I worry about. Do I need to shut up?
That's okay.
I worry about, since whether my back would be to my house, and I worry about that particular property. You see a wall in the back.
Where the church is where you're talking about.
Correct, but that picture, the very back of it, that is the part that's marked commercial. And right now there is a wall, so I don't see the shopping center where Relax the Back is and so forth. I feel shielded. But with this turning into commercial, that wall can go, and the development will be past the entrance gate. I mean, the exit gate here.
Can we pull up the exhibit? Exhibit 1.
IT, please pull up Exhibit 1 location map.
While we're doing that, I need to ask the city attorney a question. So, Mr. Attorney, are we zoning this as commercial? It was my understanding this is already commercial.
It is.
It is already commercial.
So we're not changing the zoning.
You are not changing the zoning.
Okay. So to your point, the question is, it's already a commercially zoned parcel. We are not changing the zoning on it.
I know that you're not changing it. I also know that you can't change it to residential either, according to the the city attorney.
Okay, there
so
we
it's
are.
So it's either going to be a park or it's going to be commercial.
If you could zoom.
That's your house. Okay, no, shrink it, please. Shrink it, please. Back to where it was. That's it. Leave it there. Your house is there, but across the street is already zoned commercial. No, that part is the part in question that we're going to try to see if we can buy to keep it as open space.
I'm worried if y'all aren't successful, that part, the commercial, it is commercial, but this whole thing can be redeveloped as well here also.
Property right in my front yard.
I get it. Okay. All right. I agree with you. Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Doug, is it Hoffman? Kaufman. I'm trying to read your writing. I'm sorry.
I'll just make it real short. I was going to have in the audience the residents that are here in support of the city getting the property for a park. If they could all raise their hands on the residents.
This is that parcel there that we've been talking about?
The one that's zoned right now for the commercial.
Right, but the point, the point to the east of the church or the west part of the church? The western part of the church property. Right?
Yeah.
Behind the Whole Foods.
Behind
right?
Whole Foods.
That was it. And just to re-echo that, so as you probably all recall from our discussion at the last meeting, I think that you found that the commission was supportive of that. I don't know that there was anybody up on the dais here necessarily that objected to that. I fully support it. I've been working towards this goal now for a while with the city manager and his staff, and like I said, I fully hope and expect that we'll be able to conclude an agreement in principle tomorrow. So
hopefully so.
That's
okay. Thank you.
Why couldn't you meet yesterday?
Your lips to God's ears, Mayor.
God.
Better tomorrow than never, right?
Greg Matchnick, Virginia Holden, Laura. I'm sorry. Do you want to speak or did you already raise your hand? Greg, you don't want to speak? You're good? Okay. Virginia? And then Laura?
Hi, good evening, Mayor and Commissioners. I'm Virginia Holden from Bell Harbor. I have voiced my opposition to this plat being commercially platted. I understand it has an existing zoning of RS 8 and B1, but I just wanted to say I understand where we're at in the meetings tomorrow. I was hoping we would have some good news tonight, but I just want to reiterate how, a commercial building has no place in our neighborhood.
Well, but it's already zoned commercial.
But it hasn't been an office building. It's been a church that's used maybe twice a week. So, yes, I hear what you're saying, but
I think
been
it's
a completely
God keeps
different
office hours, yeah.
It's been office hours, yeah. And I can't imagine the developer with these new homes saying, oh, by the way, you're going to have an office building in your backyard. So I think it's a win-win. If the city can move forward with the park, it might make those houses more attractive, and it'd be a win for our neighborhood. So thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. Laura, you're good? Okay. Mr. Brandon.
Well, I've been a resident of Bell Harbor for 50 years.
Wow.
Back in
we can do the
back in
74.
Were you there before or after
in
the church?
1978, I had a right of first refusal to buy that entire area. It was a 501c3 land at that time. And I had an opportunity, I had a right of first refusal from the First Church of Christ Science to buy the whole shebang for $650,000.
$650,000.
Huh?
$650,000.
The entire the entire 4 or 5 acres. Yeah.
How long did that right last?
What?
When did that right expire?
Well, the right started when I formed the corporation, and the right started at about 1977, I believe it was. At any rate, what? Yeah. Well, I was a CPA, and I brought a group of my clients together to try to acquire this. All they wanted was $200,000 down. So I thought, this is a piece of cake. I can do it. I'm a good salesman. So, but anyway, that's just a side story. But this is a very important piece of land. I don't know how the property, which was a 501c3 unit, became a commercial property. I didn't follow that. How we're suddenly in a residential area, and it would have been a residential area if I was to acquire it. And now here we have a situation where it's now a commercial area, and it seems to be out of our realm of control. So I'm saying that we have to, that's a very small acreage back there, and we have to be sure that our constituencies are not going to be overwhelmed by possibly even some low-income housing program that may be in the store. I don't want Mr. Edgar.
I can guarantee you that there's not going to be low-income housing.
All right, I just wanted to voice my opinion on that, and so I'm hoping that we can all come to a amicable resolution on it and move forward with it.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Brandon. Valdette Fontana, you're good? You support? You oppose? Okay. James Flavel? It's like that's about 18,000 square feet or something. That section that they want, it's less than a half an acre.
Hi, James Flavel. I spoke last time, so I'm going to keep it brief. And in view of what you said, Commissioner Herbst, I think that's very relevant and changes maybe my remarks. But I did have the one photograph that had the gatehouse. I also had another picture because there was some question about where the gatehouse actually is, and I don't know that that's quite so relevant at this moment. But what I think is relevant is that, and I realize that if for the platting of it, you are obligated to approve the plat if it meets certain criteria. Having said that, this has not been rezoned or replatted since 1953. And you're meeting tomorrow to try to put a deal together, and I'm not suggesting anything untoward would go here or there's any self-dealing, but what I'm saying is, doesn't it make sense, and to your question, Mr. Mayor, if you're meeting tomorrow to try to put together a deal, doesn't it make sense that you table this for a couple weeks to see if you get it done? Because if it's zone commercial and he walks into your thing tomorrow with something, whatever, I mean, it's been this way for many, many years. You don't have to do it today because this is very relevant and it's germane to what's happening here. I think everyone, and I want to say, related to the developer, Cabot, I've spoken with him. He's been very accessible. I'm not suggesting anything untoward's going on here. But what's 2 weeks when it's been the same for 70 years almost? I mean, I heard 1953. To figure this out.
That's when I was born.
And it seems like each meeting we've come to, including back over at the P&Z, we're just getting ready to have the one right after. It's always conveniently happening the day after the meeting of the decision. I think what you need to do is table this until we can put something together. And the last point I want to make is I divided the purchase price, which I think, I don't have it written down, was around $6.3 million, 20,000 square feet on one lot, and I forget the total. But if you take that percentage of the purchase, it comes out to about $1.6 million. it was appraised, if I'm not mistaken, at about 1.1 or 1.2.
Well, 1.1 to 1.7.
Yeah, okay. So the point is, the appraisal was 1.1?
Mr. Edwards' appraisal was 1.7.
His what?
His appraisal, the owner of the property's appraisal was 1.7. The city's appraisal was, we had two appraisals, 1.1 and 1.2 approximately.
Which would be consistent with your apportionment. So I think his price was 6.8 million. If you just use a square footage basis, it comes to roughly 1.7 million, which is consistent with the appraisal that he's gotten. So that's why I was saying, I think we are in a ballpark where we can get something done. But let me.
But my simple point is, over 100 or 2,000, $100,000 or $200,000, let's not let this thing go away, or get it to the point where someone swoops in, like, it could be anyone, and says, I got this enormous offer for you for that. I want to put X, Y, or Z there. Let's table this until and give us time to sort this out.
Mr. Edwards here tonight, so we can talk with him.
Well, and let me just share with you my concern about that. I understand your point, and in some respects, what you're saying makes sense from a negotiating perspective. My concern, and I've had this conversation, is that we could be perceived as delaying the plat in order to get the price down. In other words, we're interfering with the value of this property, and I don't want to create grounds for litigation that we, quite frankly, can't sustain. So the legal fees alone will make up any difference in the price. So I don't want to do this and have it be perceived as an effort to get the price down, as a bargaining chip. And unfortunately, the more we talk about this in that context, the more we strengthen that position.
No, and I'm not suggesting that that's really the case. What I am simply saying is that I know you've been negotiating in good faith for some time, and it would have been great to hear that you met yesterday.
Absolutely.
But I'm not worried that it's the city's strategy.
So let me just so everybody understands. This was not the unwillingness on the developer's part. My wife was in surgery yesterday.
Okay.
I was in a hospital all day yesterday. So I was not available yesterday to conduct any negotiations. I was out at Memorial West, way out west. So that's why nothing happened yesterday. So this was tomorrow was the first day that we were able to sit down and have this meeting. It's not an unwillingness on Cabot's end. It's my availability.
Well, thank you for that, and I hope your wife is just fine.
Doing well and not watching this meeting.
Thank you.
With that said, let's get the deal done, and let's have green space for our sanctuary neighborhood, and let's all go happily forward together.
Thank you. Thank you. Brent Campbell. Brent, are you here? There you are. And we'll round it out with Cabot Edward. How you doing, Brent?
Doing great. How are you guys doing? Good. Just a few words, just reiterating what my neighbors have said. Good evening, members of Fort Lauderdale City Commission. My name is Brent Campbell, and I live in Bell Harbor with my family for the past 10 years. I'm here to speak against the proposed commercial development as it is a neighborhood. It is not neighborhood compatible. Bell Harbor is a quiet and safe community, and introducing commercial property threatens this harmony. The main concern with this development are increased traffic and potential crime, disrupting our peaceful life and putting our children's safety at risk. The entire Bell Harbor community is united in this view. We're not against development, but we believe in the right kind of growth that maintains our neighborhood's character. We propose turning the proposed site into a green space, as discussed earlier. This would preserve our community's beauty and safety without compromising on development. Let's protect what makes our neighborhood special by rejecting this commercial property and getting a deal done with green space. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else wish to speak on this item? Mr. Edward, did you want to speak? You signed up. So now that you're here, first of all, thank you for coming tonight, and we appreciate your continued patience with our trying to work this thing through the neighborhood and so forth. My understanding is that your appraisal came at 1.7 million, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, in change, yes.
Wow. So if the city commission were to approve the purchase at $1.7 million, you'd be okay with that?
I am meeting with Commissioner Herbst tomorrow. I'm 100% in favor of coming to an agreement with the city. I do have partners that are involved in it, so, you know, as far as an offer being tendered, I speak with them. Everybody's aware of the back and forth that's been transpiring, and John and I have been speaking for months about all this stuff.
I understand.
I think everybody's working towards the same goal is kind of what I could tell you on that one.
Okay, so if we threw in the change, would that help?
I think there's other little caveats in the thing as far as like how the brokers are involved in the transaction, closing costs. I think you're aware of how the transaction will take place. So I think there's little nuances beyond that I think we're going to be discussing tomorrow. But in theory, yes, I would like to tell you that I see this happening, that everything you're saying works, but I can't tell you this, like, just as much as I'm basically shaking your hand and you're asking me to, the finer legal details, as the city attorney would tell you, as far as closing costs, who's paying the realtors, that, you know, this property wasn't listed, so I was solicited by realtors that represent the city. There's little things like that that I'm not, that need to be determined who's dealing or paying those people.
Are commissions owed here?
So typically, our agreement with Colliers provides that they get a commission whenever there's a real estate transaction. But in this case, as Cabot said, he didn't have it listed for sale.
Right.
We approached him. So the question is whether
who's responsible for the commission?
Responsible for paying Colliers' commission when he wasn't listing it when we approached him. So I think that's.
They presented your original offer, so I don't want to be caught in the middle of a broker commission dispute or anything of that nature.
Well, I'm concerned about that. Tom, do you have any thoughts on this? Do you know what? Are you familiar with this?
I don't know the position of Colliers, so.
Yeah, and Colliers is not here.
Right, and so typically, Mayor, in when we have Colliers go out and do some analysis for us, their contract provides that they get paid for doing that work, and the way that we've structured that contract is the seller is always the one who's paying that. Right. That's to our benefit or our advantage. We write the contract, so we've done it that way. In the case of Mr. Edward, he wasn't actively looking to sell this parcel. We've approached him because the neighborhood has expressed their strong desire and interest in this, and he is willing to sell, but he certainly was not a motivated seller. He was looking to do his commercial parcel. So I think we need to talk about whether perhaps the city is
responsible for the commission. So the commission, 3%, which would be half the normal commission, 3%. I don't know what our deal is with CBRE, but. 51,000.
I think that's a conversation that perhaps the city manager can have with them.
Do you recall?
Yeah,
Greg,
we'll follow up with what the contract says and what opportunities there are, and we'll make sure that you have that before you go to your.
That'd be great.
Yeah.
Well, 3%
Angela's hearing it right now. Yeah. Angela's on it. Angela's on it.
Right.
You'll get it, Commissioner.
Yeah, that'd be great. Thank you.
Okay.
So I think we can work through some of these details, Mayor. I'm optimistic.
Okay. Any other questions of Mr. Edward? Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
Okay. Do I hear a motion? Anyone else wish to speak on this item? If not, do I hear a motion to close the public hearing?
Motion to close the public hearing.
Do I hear a second? It's been moved and seconded. Please call the roll.
Commissioner Herbst?
Yes.
Commissioner Glassman? Yes. Vice Mayor Beasley Pittman?
Yes.
Commissioner Sturman?
Yes.
Mayor Trentalles?
Yes, and public hearing is now closed. So what's your pleasure, folks?
So again, to the community, just understand, I'm going to make a motion to approve this because we have an obligation as a city commission to do this. There's no legal basis for us not to do it. Do not mistake that for any desire to have a commercial building in your area. It is zone commercial. We don't have we don't have any alternative but to approve this. Again, you heard Cabot. I believe we can get this done tomorrow. I'm not going to leave you guys hanging out there. So I will work to get this closed for you. So with that done, motion to approve.
Okay. Is there someone want to second that?
As soon as I have an answer, you will know. I promise you. We will put an email out, and again, it still has to be approved by the city commission. So I can't do this on my own. I will have a conversation with him. I'll bring it back from my colleagues, but I will let you know if we reach an agreement in principle. And as soon as we can get that done, I'll bring it back and have the commission hopefully approve it, and we'll move forward from there. Again, I can't guarantee how my colleagues are going to vote, but they've certainly heard you. They've heard the community, and they're all very responsive to community concerns. So again, I'm optimistic about that as well.
Okay, so the resolution has been introduced. Does anyone else have any further comments on the commission?
I do have a question. So I just wanted to ask in terms of timing, is this something that has to be dealt with tonight, or could this actually wait till the next commission meeting after Commissioner Herbst has that meeting? Or do we have to do this evening?
If Mr. Cabot is willing to authorize a continuance, that's the only way I would suggest you do that.
Well, everybody's leaving now, so I guess everybody's okay. I'm fine with following the district commissioner's lead on this, but I just wanted to make sure that we had to do this right now as opposed to waiting till tomorrow, which is just one more day, but I'm okay with it.
Okay. Anyone else have any comments? I personally am uncomfortable going forward tonight. I would rather continue it. I think that it puts us in a weak bargaining position to approve this next step without having the ability to work out the final details, which I'm sure everyone will work out in good faith. But I just think it does a disservice to the neighborhood who's been counting on this and expecting the commission to do the right thing at the right time. And I just don't think we're ready for it. And continuing it one more week or one more meeting is not going to deprive anybody, doesn't prejudice anybody. So while I know this is considered ministerial, I just don't feel there's sufficient grounds to move forward on it. And my position is that I'm going to vote against it tonight. Unless we continue it, I will agree to continue it to our next meeting. Did you want to say something, Mr. Edward? Go right ahead, sure.
I just want to remind everybody that the main issue is the commercially zoned parcel, and everybody's talking about whether or not we're approving something to be built there. We're not. We're only dividing the property per the underlying zoning. We're not. If a building were to be built there, say I sold it to somebody else or I went before myself, that project would then therefore have to go through planning and zoning, come before the city commission and everything on its own, separate from this process, which is why as you look through even tonight's agenda, there's all these resolutions being that we're going forward with tonight, a quasi-judicial ordinance approving the rezoning of this single family to park to this multifamily to park. So that's all what's going to end up having to happen in this same regard. So at any event, it has to be platted, then sold, then rezoned. Like, this is a step that has to be taken to even go down this road. So all you're doing is delaying the inevitable.
Well, we're not delaying the inevitable. We're trying to make sure we have all of our ducks lined up in a row before we commit to something. And I think that it behooves the commission to understand that, with Commissioner Herbst meeting with you tomorrow, it gives the city a better position in which to have this conversation than to keep this thing moving forward where we've compromised yet one decision by allowing this to go forward. I just feel that in deference to the community, especially who've shown up here tonight, it's important to recognize their feelings and their sense of comfort to know that that slip of land, even if we went up to the higher price, is still going to be, protected for the community, that it's going to be open space. And if we vote this tonight, there's no guarantee for that.
With all due respect, feelings aside, the rules are the rules. And I didn't zone the property, and I'm following the rules. If there's any rule that I'm violating, that's the purpose of this hearing.
You're not violating any rules. We're not casting any aspersions on anything you've done. We're just looking in terms of how we're moving forward with this project. And no, you have not violated any rules. Don't ever walk away thinking that.
But moving forward doesn't, anything we're talking about doesn't change what has to happen tonight. It's only delaying the inevitable. Tonight has to happen, whether it's tonight, whether it's next week, whether it's next month. I can't even make a deal with you to do this until this is done.
Oh, I understand that.
So I don't, like,
So
you're
that's why we-
basically, like, I feel like this property is being held hostage over this.
It's not being held hostage. In my opinion, is that it keeps the city in a better position to negotiate what we need to finalize. I would have preferred if it happened yesterday or today, but it didn't. So, but the fact that it's happening tomorrow, I just feel that, you know, this neighborhood deserves the opportunity that they have been wanting for really a long time. And, they moved into this neighborhood with a church there. It was a quiet, passive activity. There wasn't a whole lot of interference with the neighborhood, and now there's a threat to their quality of life, and they want to make sure that the people they've elected are making sure that that quality of life is not going to be destroyed because of ministerial acts that we need to take, but don't necessarily need to take them tonight. We can defer this, settle on what we're going to do with it, and then move forward. It's not prejudicing you in any way by another 2 weeks. It's 2 weeks, right? Next meeting. So,
but Mayor, I think, though, that we do at some point in time have to do this plat. So while I understand what you're saying, here's the rub for me. This is a ministerial act. And as I mentioned at our last meeting, if we cannot find evidence why this plat violates the ULDR, Unified Land Development Regulations, or the comprehensive plan, then we are just really obligated to say yes to the plat and then move on. Now, this has nothing to do with the site plan. This has nothing to do with an actual building of an office building, because that would all have to come back. That would all have to go through DRC, Planning and Zoning, back to the commission. And in fact, because of the fact that the owner's appraisal is $600,000 above the city's appraisal, I actually believe that for us to approve that land acquisition from District 1 Commission funds from the Parks Bond, we would need a supermajority of this board to approve that as well. So there are a lot of safeguards down the road for this project. And that's why, even though I would have loved to see tomorrow's meeting happen yesterday, and timing is kind of strange here, I'm finding that I am going to have to support moving forward with the plat again, because that is what our obligation is. And I cannot find any evidence in the ULDR or comprehensive plan that we are violating. I can't find a reason to not approve the plat. The timing is not a reason to not approve the plat. It's just not. It's not in our code. So I do feel that I have to say yes, and then we move forward with the discussion of land acquisition from the Parks Bond. We move forward. If that doesn't happen, then eventually there will have to be, as I said, that entire DRC and site plan approval process for whatever might happen. But I feel we have enough safeguards. I feel we're all on the same page here. And as I said, I just feel that we have to do that right thing. I do not want to open us up to any possible litigation at this point in time on this process. For us, deferring this once and then deferring it twice, that to me becomes a little bit of an issue in and of itself. So I will support moving forward with the plat, again, knowing and also letting the neighborhood know that we know exactly what we have to do and we know exactly the process that we are facing. Thank you.
Okay. Anyone else have any comments? There being none, please call the roll.
And Commissioner Herbst, that's
Commissioner Herbst
introduced and for approval, correct?
For approval, yes.
Because there's two okay, thank you. A resolution of the City Commission of the City of Fort Lauderdale, Florida, approving a plat entitled Bal Harbor Village and providing for an effective date. Commissioner Herbst?
Yes.
Commissioner Glassman?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Beasley Pittman?
Yes.
Commissioner Sturman?
Yes.
Mayor Trentalis?
No. So the resolution's approved and the item's approved. Thank you, folks, for being here tonight.
Thank you, everybody.
Okay, public hearing number 1, ordinance amending the City of Fort Lauderdale Unified Land Development Regulations, residential office. No one has signed up to speak. No one has signed up to speak. Anyone have any questions regarding PH1? If not, someone move to close public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Please call the roll.
Commissioner Herbst?
Yes.
Commissioner Glassman?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Beasley Pittman?
Yes.
Commissioner Sturman?
Yes.
Mayor Trentalis?
Yes, and public hearing is now closed on PH1. Would someone like to introduce the ordinance?
Introduce.
The ordinance has been introduced. Please call the roll.
In ordinance of the City of Fort Lauderdale, Florida, amending the City of Fort Lauderdale, Florida's Unified Land Development Regulations, more specifically amending Section 47-5.60.d Residential Office District to replace a reference to R4 District with RMH 60 District, providing for correction of scrivener's errors, providing for severability, providing for conflicts and repeal, and providing for an effective date. Commissioner Herbst?
Yes.
Commissioner Glassman? Yes. Vice Mayor Beasley Pittman?
Yes.
Commissioner Sturman?
Yes.
Mayor Trentalis?
Yes, and the PH1 ordinance is now approved. Chris, you signed up for R4, but there is no R4.
Yes, there is. It's the end of the evening.
Oh, the end of the evening. Oh, that's right. I'm sorry. What are you doing here? Okay, okay. PH2, public hearing, quasi-judicial ordinance, rezoning from residential single-family cluster dwellings, low-medium density district, and parks, recreation, and open space district to Northwest Regional Activity Center mixed-use West District, 1409 West Sistrunk Boulevard. Anyone wishing to speak must be sworn in. The commission will announce any site visits, communications, or expert opinions received and make them a part of the record. We have one person signed up to speak, Mark Russell, for questions only. Anyone have any questions? Anyone else want to speak? There being none, do I hear a motion to close public hearing?
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Please call the roll.
Commissioner Herbst?
Yes.
Commissioner Glassman?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Beasley Pittman?
Yes.
Commissioner Sturman?
Yes.
Mayor Trentalis?
Yes, and public hearing is now closed on PH2. Would someone like to introduce the ordinance?
Introduce.
It's been introduced. Please call the roll.
An ordinance amending Section 47-1.6.b of the City of Fort Lauderdale, Florida Unified Land Development Regulations through the revision of the official zoning map of the City of Fort Lauderdale and Schedule A, revised compilation attached thereto and by reference made a part thereof so as to rezone from residential single-family cluster dwellings, low-medium density district to Parks, Recreation, Open Space District to Northwest Regional Activity Center Mixed Use West District, lots 39 through 48 inclusive, Block 3, Lincoln Park corrected plat according to the plat thereof, recorded in Plat Book 5, page 2, together with lots 1 through 8 less road right-of-way, lots 9 through 16 inclusive, and lots 42 through 50 inclusive, Block 2, according to the plat thereof, as recorded in Plat Book 5, page 2, also together with that portion of the vacated Northwest 14th Terrace described in Official Records Book 30363, page 1209, all of the public records of Broward County, Florida, located north of Sistrunk Boulevard, east of Northwest 14th Way, west of Northwest 14th Avenue, and south of Northwest 7th Street, all said lands being in the City of Fort Lauderdale, Broward County, Florida, containing 84,520 square feet, or 1.9403 acres, more or less. Commissioner Herbst?
Before we vote, I forgot to ask for disclosures. So, Commissioner Herbst, do you have any disclosures?
None.
Vice Mayor?
None.
I have none. Commissioner Glassman?
None.
And Commissioner Sturman?
None.
Okay, just want to put that on the record. Okay, please move forward with the vote.
Commissioner Herbst?
Yes.
Commissioner Glassman?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Beasley Pittman?
Yes.
Commissioner Sturman?
Yes.
Mayor Trentalis?
Yes. Excuse me. And PH2 has been approved. Moving on to OFR 1, this is an ordinance of first reading. It's an ordinance amending the non-bargaining unit classification table of the pay plan of the City of Fort Lauderdale, Florida, by adding 2 new job classifications and changing the pay grades of the 2 job classifications. No one has signed up OSR. This is OFR. Okay. No one signed up to speak. Someone like to introduce the ordinance?
Introduce.
It's been introduced. Please call the roll.
An ordinance of the City of Fort Lauderdale, Florida, amending the non-bargaining unit classification table, the pay plan of the City of Fort Lauderdale, Florida, as amended by creating and adding 2 job classifications and changing the pay grades of 2 job classifications, providing for severability, repeal of conflicting ordinance provisions, and an effective date. Commissioner Herbst?
Yes.
Commissioner Glassman?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Beasley Pittman?
Yes.
Commissioner Sturman?
Yes.
Mayor Trentalis?
Yes, and OF1 OFR1 is now approved on first reading. OSR1 is a second reading, quasi-judicial ordinance approving a rezoning from residential single-family low-density district to Parks, Recreation, and Open Space District. This is south of Ponce de Leon Drive, east of Southeast 9th Avenue, west of Southeast 11th Street, and north of Southeast 11th Street in the city of Fort Lauderdale. Anyone wishing to speak must be sworn in. The commission will announce any site visits, communications, or expert opinions received and make them part of the record. Anyone have any additional disclosures?
None.
No.
Okay, neither do I. Mr. Nelson, you've asked to speak.
Okay. Good evening, commissioners. Great to see you guys again. Chris Nelson. And I'm just, first, I'm really thirsty, and they're treating us like kids out there, and they're taking away our water and our stuff. But then you guys can have water. But the common people, we can't have water. Can we just treat everybody like adults?
What does this have to do with Ponce de Leon?
Well, this is housekeeping.
Be germane.
I love these meetings, by the way. I like the back and forth. They need to be, you need to allow comments on YouTube, and then you should also have these going live on X, Twitter, whatever.
That's what we need here. Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, it's good thing the school board does it now.
Let's go to X also. We go on Twitter.
Yeah, the school board does it now, and they were really big against letting you speak, and even they're doing it. So, I think
and they were in great shape, as you said.
Right?
Yeah.
Well, if we did that, we would just have you submit your comments and not talk.
No. That's what you did during the shutdowns, and we couldn't come in and speak, and geez, we would kill everybody. But anyway, so
53 seconds.
All right. So I wanted to say on this, it is just great to see that there is resolutions that are redesignating things for green space and parks. I mean, that's great. That's a good thing, because if you remember, last year around this time, something happened in Fort Lauderdale. If you remember, we had quite a big flood. Now, I understand that since they've banned Edison light bulbs, that should fix climate change, and then that should shift the entire climate of the earth, banning those light bulbs. So we should not have those rainstorms again. But in the event that we do, having more green spaces is necessary. I know, and those guys that were talking, they want to park there instead of the commercial thing or a store or whatever. I can understand that. But, we have these buildings going up everywhere, and it's so nice. We need to hold on to our green spaces, our trees. And so I'm very happy to see that there are a bunch of these that are moving in that direction to save our green spaces. I also like that you let people finish up here, that you don't just cut them off at 3 minutes. Like over at the school board, they cut you off and they signal to the police to haul you out if you go 1 second over.
Be careful, he may change his mind.
So I do like
Where
these
is our
meetings a lot.
officer? Oh, he's back in the room. Okay.
Oh yeah, we got the police chief.
Police chief already left.
Chief.
Okay.
Just like that. That's what they do. That's what they do. That's what they do right there.
Well, we wanted to make you feel at home.
Yeah, right.
Okay.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Do I hear a motion to close the public hearing?
So moved.
You realize second and third.
It's been moved and seconded. Please call the roll.
Commissioner Herbst?
Yes.
Commissioner Glassman?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Beasley Pittman?
Yes.
Commissioner Sturman?
Yes.
Mayor Trentalis?
Yes, public hearing on OSR1 is now closed. Would someone like to introduce the
I would
ordinance?
like to do this. This is Hector Park, and as we learned last time, if you want to give us a history of Hector Park.
No, we've heard it.
Yeah, I'd like to move this item,
Thank you.
please.
It's been introduced. Please call the roll.
An ordinance amending section 47-1.6.b of the City of Fort Lauderdale, Florida Unified Land Development Regulations through the revision of the official zoning map of the City of Fort Lauderdale and Schedule A revised compilation attached thereto and by reference made a part thereof so as to rezone from RS8 residential single-family low-medium density district to Parks Recreation Open Space District, all of Parcel Park lying north of Block 7, west of Block 11 and south of Block 23, Rio Vista Isles, according to the plat thereof as recorded in Plat Book 7, page 47 of the Public Records of Broward County, Florida, located north of Southeast 11th Street, east of Southeast 9th Avenue, west of Southeast 12th Way, and south of Ponce de Leon Drive, all said lands being in the City of Fort Lauderdale, Broward County, Florida, providing for conflicts, providing for severability, and providing for an effective date. Commissioner Herbst?
Yes.
Commissioner Glassman?
Before I vote, I have a question, and I apologize for this, but Chris, I just need to know, and also so Mr. Nelson understands the history, because we've been working on this for over 2 years now, basically changing the zoning on parcels that have been used as green space parks, but never really zoned that way. And we're doing this to protect these places because we did discover that, and planning and zoning was also instrumental in helping us do this. This has been over a 2-year effort where we've been working with Parks and Rec as well. How many, maybe Carl know, how many more are on this list that still need to come to us in the city?
So I don't know off the top of my head, but I can probably find out before we get through the last one of these tonight.
Okay, because we have gone through a really good,
Yeah, we
extensive
have.
list in the last several
Yeah.
years.
Yep.
I'm just wondering how
Well,
many are
it'll be a
left.
never-ending list because we'll continue to find new places that we can try to, ensure that they become permanent public spaces. So, I mean, it will become never-ending. I'm sure there's an inventory now that they've taken.
There
but,
is, but there's a list that we're working off of.
But I mean, I'm sure that we'll continue to find new opportunities. So,
I would hope.
all right, let's move forward.
Okay, thank you, Chris, and I would
Okay.
appreciate that information. That'll be really
Okay.
helpful. And yes, I'm a yes vote. Thank you.
Thank you.
Vice Mayor Beasley Pittman?
Yes.
Commissioner Sturman?
Yes.
Mayor Trentalis?
Yes, and that item is now approved. OSR 3. This is OSR 2. The quasi-judicial ordinance approving a rezoning, again, from residential multifamily low-rise, medium-high district density to Parks, Recreation, and Open Space. This is south of Southeast 4th Street, east of Southwest 11th Avenue, and north of Waverly Road, and west of Southwest 10th Avenue. Anyone wishing to speak must be sworn in, and the commission will announce any site visits, communications, or expert opinions received and make them a part of the record. Commissioner Herbst, do you have any disclosures? Any additional disclosures?
No additional.
None. Vice Mayor?
None.
None from me. Commissioner Glassman?
None.
And Commissioner Sturman?
None.
Okay. There being no additional disclosures, Chris, you have anything else you want to add? Same. Okay. Someone like to move to close public hearing?
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Please call the roll.
Commissioner Herbst?
Yes.
Commissioner Glassman?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Beasley Pittman?
Yes.
Commissioner Sturman?
Yes.
Mayor Trentalis?
Yes, and public hearing is now closed on OSR 2. Would someone like to introduce the ordinance?
Introduced.
In ordinance amending section 47-1.6.b of the City of Fort Lauderdale, Florida Unified Land Development Regulations through the revision of the official zoning map of the City of Fort Lauderdale and Schedule A revised compilation attached thereto and by reference made a part thereof so as to rezone from RML 25 residential low-rise multifamily medium high-density district to Parks, Recreation, and Open Space District, all of that unnumbered block lying south of Block 107 and north of Block 101, Waverly Place, according to the plat thereof as recorded in Plat Book 2, page 19 of the Public Records of Broward County, Florida, located north of the North Fork New River, east of Southwest 12th Avenue, west of Southwest 10th Avenue, and south of West Los Olas Boulevard, all said lands being in the City of Fort Lauderdale, Broward County, Florida. Commissioner Herbst?
Bless you.
Commissioner Glassman?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Beasley Pittman?
Yes.
Commissioner Sturman?
Yes.
Mayor Trentalis?
Yes, and the item is now approved. OSR 3, second reading, is quasi-judicial ordinance approving a rezoning from residential single-family low-medium density district to Parks, Recreation, Open Space District. This is again south of Southeast 10th Street, east of Southeast 9th Avenue, and north of Rio Vista Boulevard. Anyone wishing to speak must be sworn in, and the commission will announce any site visits, communications, or expert opinions received and make them a part of the record. Commissioner Herbst, any additional disclosures?
None.
Vice Mayor?
None.
I have none. Commissioner Glassman?
None.
And Commissioner Sturman?
None.
You have a site visit, Commissioner Sturman?
None. Well, not since the last time I was here, I drove. But that's Virginia Young Park, by the way. You know the history on that? Yes, you do. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, no one has signed up to speak. Someone like to close public hearing?
So moved.
So moved.
Been moved to close public hearing and
Seconded.
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 Please call the roll.
Commissioner Herbst?
Yes.
Commissioner Glassman?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Beasley Pittman?
Yes.
Commissioner Sturman?
Yes.
Mayor Trentalis?
Yes, public hearing is now closed on OSR 3. Would someone like to
I
introduce?
would like the honor of introducing you.
Commissioner Sturman has introduced OSR 3 on second reading.
In ordinance amending section 47-1.6.b of the City of Fort Lauderdale, Florida Unified Land Development Regulations through the revision of the official zoning map of the City of Fort Lauderdale and Schedule A revised compilation attached thereto and by reference made a part thereof so as to rezone from RS8 residential single low single-family low-medium density district to Parks Recreation Open Space District, all of Parcel Park lying north of Block 28 and south of Block 27, Rio Vista Isles, according to plat thereof as recorded in Plat Book 7, page 47 of the Public Records of Broward County, Florida, located north of South Rio Vista Boulevard, east of Southeast 9th Avenue, west of Cordova Road, and south of Southeast 9th Street, all said lands being in the city of Fort Lauderdale, Broward County, Florida. Commissioner Herbst?
Yes.
Commissioner Glassman?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Beasley Pittman?
Yes.
Commissioner Sturman?
Yes.
Mayor Trentalis?
Yes, and OSR 3 is now approved on second reading. OSR 4, second reading of a quasi-judicial ordinance approving a rezoning from a heavy commercial light industrial district to Parks, Recreation, and Open Space District, 2600 and 2450 South Federal Highway in the city of Fort Lauderdale. Anyone wishing to speak must be sworn in. The commission will announce any site visits, communications, or expert opinions received and make them a part of the record. Do you have any additional disclosures, Commissioners Herbst? None. Vice Mayor?
None.
I have none. Commissioner Glassman?
None.
Commissioner Sturman?
None.
Okay. No one has signed up to speak. Someone please move to close public hearing.
So move.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Please call the roll.
Commissioner Herbst?
He's walked out of the meeting in protest.
Not present. Commissioner Glassman?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Beasley Pittman?
Yes.
Commissioner Sturman?
Yes.
Mayor Trentalis?
Yes, and the public hearing is now closed on OSR 4. Would someone like to introduce the ordinance?
So introduced.
It's been introduced. Please call the roll.
Sorry. In ordinance amending section 47-1.6.b of the City of Fort Lauderdale, Florida Unified Land Development Regulations through the revision of the official zoning map of the City of Fort Lauderdale and Schedule A revised compilation attached thereto and by reference made a part thereof, so as to rezone from B3 Heavy Commercial Light Industrial District to Parks Recreation Open Space District, all of Block I, a subdivision of Block J, Lakeview, according to the plat thereof, as recorded in Plat Book 18, page 20 of the Public Records of Broward County, Florida, together with lots 14A, 14B, 16A, and 16B, Harborview, according to plat thereof, as recorded in Plat Book 10, page 5 of the Public Records of Broward County, Florida, lying east of the east right-of-way line of Federal Highway and Less Road right-of-way, also together with lots 2, south half, and all of lots 4, 6, 8, 10, and 12, Lakeview, according to the plat thereof, as recorded in Plat Book 1, page 68 of the Public Records of Dade County, Florida. Less Road right-of-way, also together with that portion of Southeast 25th Street right-of-way bounded on the west by the east right-of-way line of Federal Highway and bounded on the east by the west right-of-way line of Miami Road, located north of Southeast 28th Street, east of South Federal Highway, west of Miami Road, and south of Spangler Boulevard, all said lands being in the city of Fort Lauderdale, Broward County, Florida. Commissioner Herbst?
Yes.
Commissioner Glassman?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Beasley Pittman?
Yes.
Commissioner Sturman?
Yes.
Mayor Trentalis?
Yes, and OSR 4 is now approved on second reading. OSR 5, second reading of quasi-judicial ordinance, approving a rezoning from residential single-family and duplex medium-density district, residential mid-rise multifamily medium-high density district, and general business district to commercial business district. This is 1714 West State Road 84, the Barbell Ventures Corporation. Anyone wishing to speak must be sworn in, and the commission will announce any site visits, communications, or expert opinions received and make them a part of the record. Commissioner Herbst, do you have any additional disclosures?
No.
Vice Mayor?
No.
I have none. Commissioner Glassman?
None.
And Commissioner Sturman?
None.
Okay. Mr. Porter, you're just here for questions, right? Where are you, Mr. Porter? There you are. Okay. So no one else has signed up to speak. Someone like to move to close public hearing?
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Please call the roll.
Commissioner Herbst?
Yes.
Commissioner Glassman?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Beasley Pittman?
Yes.
Commissioner Sturman?
Yes.
Mayor Trentalis?
Yes, the public hearing is now closed on OSR 5. Someone like to introduce the ordinance?
Introduced.
In ordinance amending section 47-1.6.b of the City of Fort Lauderdale, Florida Unified Land Development Regulations through the revision of the official zoning map of the City of Fort Lauderdale and Schedule A revised compilation attached thereto and by reference made a part thereof, so as to rezone from general business district to community business district, rezone from residential multifamily mid-rise medium high density district to CB district, and rezone from residential single family duplex medium density district to CB district portions of parcel A Matt Corp. Plat, according to the plat thereof as recorded in Plat Book 128, page 2 of the Public Records of Broward County, Florida, located west of Southwest 15th Avenue, north of Southwest 30th Street, east of Southwest 18th Terrace, and south of West State Road 84, all said lands being in the city of Fort Lauderdale, Broward County, Florida, providing for conflicts, providing for severability, and providing for an effective date. Commissioner Herbst?
Yes.
Commissioner Glassman?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Beasley Pittman?
Yes.
Commissioner Sturman?
Yes.
Mayor Trentalis?
Yes, and OSR 5 is now approved on second reading. OSR 6, second reading, an ordinance amending section 28-56, maintenance by property owner, amending section 28-58, making connections to sewers, and so forth and so on.
So forth and so on.
So forth and so on.
Et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Okay, no one has signed up to speak, and there's no reason to close. We don't have a public hearing, so we don't have to close public hearing. Okay, so would someone like to introduce the ordinance?
Introduce.
Been introduced by by Vice Mayor, and please call the roll.
An ordinance of the City of Fort Lauderdale, Florida, amending Chapter 28, Water, Wastewater, and Stormwater, Sections 28-56, 28-58, and 28-59 of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Fort Lauderdale, Florida, providing for consistency with the Florida Building Code and Public Works Engineering Standards to clarify language for permit applicants and remove conflicting information, repealing conflicting ordinance provisions, and providing for an effective date. Commissioner Herbst?
Yes.
Commissioner Glassman?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Beasley Pittman?
Yes.
Commissioner Sturman?
Yes.
Mayor Trentalis?
Yes, and OSR 6 is now approved on second reading. Moving to R4.
Do you want to do the, leave R4 for last? Want to do the walk-on?
The walk-on is not part of the agenda. That comes after the end of the meeting.
Oh, okay, because another reason,
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
I mean, clerk said want to have that
Yeah,
for the last
so
item.
R4, resolution designating vice mayor, as is the tradition in the city. It's always in reverse order of the commission districts. The vice mayor, Pamela Beasley Pittman, has been our vice mayor for the last year, representing District 3. So according to our process, District now devolves down to District 2. We have a couple people who've signed up to speak. So we'll start with Mr. Brown, Bill Brown, followed by Chris Nelson. Do you want to speak, Chris? Okay.
Bill Brown, resident of Fort Lauderdale Beach, Central Beach, here tonight representing myself as a District 2 resident. There's a lot of rumors floating around. So I would hope that this commission keeps the tradition that has always been done as far as the rotations. It's not right to try to change things if there's politics involved or whatever and disenfranchise our district or any other district in their residents in this city. I think we're all mature adults and can rise to the occasion of doing what's right. Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. Chris Nelson?
Yes, good evening, commissioners. Chris Nelson. First, I want to say thank you to Vice Mayor Beasley Pittman. You've done a fantastic job.
Thank you.
And I'd just like to say that I do not think that Commissioner Glassman should be the vice mayor. And I'll tell you why. Because of the investigation that happened and the way that I know that he spoke with a member of another commissioner's staff and was a bully to her. And it wasn't right. And I've seen you be a bully to other people up here as well. We live in a time where, like, this morning, you've got Trump going on with all of his craziness on one side. And then you've got over here, you had Debbie Wasserman Schultz calling Republicans extremists, and everybody's yelling at each other and
So
bullying.
don't yell.
Well, okay. Let me chill a little bit, because let me tell you, I've had to chill out a little bit myself.
Yes, please.
You know? And just sometimes just go outside and breathe in the fresh air. Go, you know, life is good. It ain't that bad. But we live in a very partisan culture right now. And I don't think that Commissioner Glassman has, over the last year, exhibited the right temperament that we need. And I don't think it's right after that, after those incidents that happened, that he should be the vice mayor. Also, I see how you guys, you guys act pretty much as a rubber stamp to the developers all the time.
Did that happen tonight?
Tonight I was actually pleasantly surprised, but I see it a lot, and I think that there needs to be between the mayor and the vice mayor some, I like the diversity of this board. I like that there's diversity of thought up here. So I was thinking, since my Commissioner Sturman, I think he'd make a great vice mayor, but I won't make, I'll get the police chief now. I think a great vice mayor would be he's not sitting here right now. Why did he get up?
Okay.
Would be Mr. Hertz to act as a counterbalance.
Okay. This isn't a
It's
political...
nothing personal against Mr. Glassman. We talk outside of here, but I don't think he's the right guy to do this right now.
Thank you. Anyone else wish to speak on this item? There being none, someone like to introduce a resolution appointing District 2.
I do have a question.
Yeah.
To the city attorneys, I understand that there's some type of draft pertaining to this charter piece about the when the vice mayor position would go into effect. Is that true?
The current charter provides that each April, a vice mayor shall be appointed.
Okay.
Current charter.
All right, because I was under the understanding that the ordinance, the review committee?
The Charter
Review Board had submitted a draft about moving the date from April to December, aligning with our new election rotation.
I think we have all discussed that, but I don't think we've received anything. We've received nothing from the Charter Review Board.
That's what I'm asking.
My question is, this is set by charter, not by ordinance. Is that correct, Mr. Attorney?
It's charter.
It is
Okay.
the charter requirement.
Okay, so we're locked into this date.
We've received nothing from the Charter Review Board.
And it also has a one-year term by charter, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
All right. I just wanted to verify that because I was under the impression that
Actually, I think it was Commissioner Glassman who recommended it to begin with.
Well, it only makes sense when we changed our elections from March to November.
Right.
The reason it was always April because our election was March, and then we did a reorganizational meeting and we did the vice mayor. So that was something that I submitted a long time ago. Hopefully that will happen. It only makes sense that we do this in December to align it with our election.
So let's wait for the Charter Review Board to make that recommendation.
Because I did my half and got cut off in the middle. I got caught in that. So I only did like 5 months, actually.
Right.
But,
Okay, would someone like to introduce a resolution?
can I make a statement here?
Oh, go ahead.
Okay, I just want you to realize I'm talking about my own personal behavior. Don't think that I'm criticizing anybody. This is just me personally. We might have differences of opinion, but we must show our colleagues dignity and respect at all times. We need to show our community unity of our commission, and we need to strive to avoid conflict and any divisive behavior. I need to place my own personal disagreements apart, and I'm not here to serve my own personal interests, but to serve the community as a whole in our city. And a show of respect to my colleagues, a show of unity, respect to our city, and respect the institution of the city commission. My colleague, Stephen Glassman, was duly elected by his constituents, and I wish to nominate him for vice mayor of the city of Fort Lauderdale.
Okay. It's just by resolution, so we don't need a second. So the resolution is to appoint Commissioner Glassman as vice mayor. Please call the roll.
A resolution of the City Commission of the City of Fort Lauderdale, Florida, designated Stephen Glassman as vice mayor for a term beginning April 2nd, 2024, and ending upon designation of a vice mayor at the City Commission's first meeting in April 2025, and providing for an effective date. Commissioner Herbst is not present. Commissioner Glassman?
Before I vote, I wanted to just say thank you to Commissioner Sturman for those nice words. Yes.
Vice Mayor Beasley Pittman?
Yes.
Commissioner Sturman?
Yes.
Mayor Trentalis?
Thinking. Yes. Okay. The resolution's approved. First of all, let me thank the Commissioner Beasley Pittman, for the stellar job that she did.
Thank you. Thank you, Pam.
Thank you for
the opportunity. Thank you.
Not only did she hit the ground running as a commissioner, but she was almost soon thereafter appointed vice mayor, and is a lot of responsibility with the title and with the role. So thank you very, very much for everything that you've done. And Commissioner Glassman, I know this is not your first time at the rodeo as vice mayor, so I hope you're prepared to do all the things that I'm not going to do.
Thank you, Mayor. I think I'm going to start Thursday with pickleball.
Yes, you're going to start.
Okay.
Okay, let's move on to the walk-on. Mr. Cheveria, sorry, I'm a little tired right now. Would you please explain to us what the walk-on is about?
Yeah, so we received a request from the Panthers, which are our partners, for the Holiday Park Iceplex. They would like to have a community welcoming on Saturday. And
this Saturday?
This Saturday. We received it last Wednesday, so it was too tight to bring into the agenda. So we are bringing that as a walk-on for you all to consider.
Okay, Melissa, did you want to say anything? Where's Melissa? Oh, there you are. I'm sorry. Yeah.
I'm really here just for questions, but I did want to say the reason that it wasn't brought until recently was because there was an honest misunderstanding about whether the permit was needed. The focus of the event, all of the, whatever, alcohol being served, activities.
So explain to us what this is again. It's this Saturday.
This Saturday.
What time Saturday?
From 10 a.m. until 3 p.m.
Okay, and it's open to the public.
Open to the public.
It's like an open house to the public of the new ice skating rinks, the new, what's it called? The
Baptist Health Iceplex.
Baptist, yeah. I keep forgetting the full name.
Yeah.
Baptist Health Iceplex. So, so that's great. You're going to be advertising it.
We're advertising
it's already advertised.
Yeah.
It's already
I
out.
think the issue that was brought forward this last week was whether or not we have tents that are smaller than the requirement for permits, but evidently because there's more than one activation outside, it's all on the property. I think bouncy houses, whatever.
Okay.
That the need to get approval and permitting
Okay.
is suggested.
Cool. All righty.
And we hope you'll all come.
Is it a free event to the public?
It's a free event to the public. We have all-day public skating during those time periods. We're offering free skating classes and free hockey classes and some exhibitions, some booze. Baptist Health will be there with a booth.
No, I was teasing.
Yeah.
No, seriously, you have alcohol?
Pardon?
Alcohol? I was just teasing.
Well, we have alcohol inside of the building. The
But not
question
free,
was raised.
not free.
Just through
free
experience,
alcohol.
I'd
That
recommend
would
not
need a
drinking and
different kind of
skating at the same
permit.
time.
No, Baptist Health, they have an orthopedic department,
All right, very good. Anyone else have any questions of Melissa? Okay, there being none. Is this what is this, a resolution?
Motion.
It's a resolution, right?
Motion.
A motion. Would
So
someone like to
moved.
move?
Seconded.
Moved and seconded? Okay, great. Please call the roll.
Commissioner Herbst? Vice Mayor Glassman?
Yes.
Commissioner Beasley Pittman?
Yes.
Commissioner Sturman?
Yes.
Mayor Trentalis?
Yes, and that item is approved. Congratulations. Thank you so much. We appreciate you doing this to the public, doing it for the public, rather. Are there any additional items to be discussed tonight?
Yes, Mr. Mayor. If I may have a moment.
Yes, sure.
I have some personal news. I'm sad to say that I need to be attending some personal matters, and I will be leaving the organization. And it is with heavy heart that I must step down from my responsibilities due to the immediate needs of my family. I have some ill family members that need attention and require my support and care at this time. While I'm humbled to serve this awesome role, the everyday demands leave limited time and focus for my family. This was an incredibly difficult decision, but my family must be my top priority. I leave a wonderful team and mission that I love, but it's time for more balance for myself. It's been more than 1 year. It's been almost a year since the flood, and I'm glad to see that we as a community have been able to recover. We as a team have been able to help the community get back on track. And finally, we've been able to bring back impacted staff to the new offices. I have the utmost confidence that the exceptional leadership team that we have built will continue driving our city forward with the same dedication and passion for excellence. Together, over the past 20 months, we've accomplished tremendous milestones and reached new heights of success that we can all take immense pride in. It's been an honor and privilege to lead our 2,800 hardworking staff members who tirelessly serve our community each and every day. I'm very glad that we started the employee luncheon that now is a 2-year tradition. I will always be grateful to this commission, the commission that voted me in, and the neighbors and business owners that make this community thrive. I will remain available for the next 60 days as per my contract to assist in any way possible to ensure a smooth leadership transition, and I will work with staff in the next 2 weeks to bring back options for you to consider at your next conference and commission meeting. Again, thank you for this remarkable opportunity, and looking forward to starting a transition process.
Wow.
We are FTL.
So 60 days? You're going to allow us to have 60 days. You'll remain with us 60 days until we decide what we can do?
Yeah, 60 days. And even beyond that, I'm always available, a phone call away, to help with any type of historical information or any type of reference. I will forever be indebted to the city and the community.
Okay. I guess you can each have your opportunity to speak with the city manager after tonight. I'm at a loss for words right now, so I don't really want to say anything. We're just going to adjourn the meeting, and we'll continue in our next meeting. Thank you.